with both teams looking on time for their entries.
Yep, I'm changing it now. Good timing. No lower, good. And you clear.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing get the green light. They are good to go into the start box, waiting now for INEOS Britannia at the 2-minute mark. Tiny bit behind, but time is pretty much spot on. They get the green light as well. So here we go, second race of the day, the Louis Vuitton Cup semi-finals.
Circle.
Slow increase in breeze, so should see some slight increase in performance and speeds.
Down slightly here to it.
Stop now, going all the way down, no rush.
Quite tight, 115 pin.
132. One was going down. And made plus 8.
So stay high.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing opting to circle, certainly increasing the gap there to INEOS Britannia. So
That's a big
Alinghi Red Bull Racing now having the option to either jump and lead back or to follow and push.
They look early. I think they're too early.
They're staying low. They're
Going low for now. Happy to
plenty of time. Happy to extend behind them.
12 for the pin. They're already low in the box, guys.
No lower, we below committee.
Alinghi happy to let them go.
Board up in high road. 2, 1, going board, go mate. 23s, killing 12, 22s.
Happy to go here.
Make height when we can. 22, 21s here at the moment.
3 on the exit.
It's that final approach for INEOS Britannia. They're just using a little bit of speed there.
Happy to do our start bump. 1, going 1.
A lot of time to kill there for the British. See the time to kill graphic on the mastheads of both boats, so almost showing the Swiss there a fraction late. So really big push now for the Swiss team to accelerate the boat. They will come in over speed compared to the British.
Inside the last 10 seconds, this is the second race of the day in the Louis Vuitton Cup semi-finals. Top qualifier on your left, INEOS Britannia facing up against Alinghi Red Bull Racing, and we are good to go off the coast of Barcelona.
They're going to hit us on the way back.
A big gain to Alinghi Red Bull Racing there. Both boats actually late for the start, so possible lull in breeze. Both boats late there. Expect Alinghi Red Bull Racing to hit the British in the first attack of the race.
Beautiful start by the Swiss, and now with that wide, that gapping off the opposition is so strong, isn't it?
Any lighter here?
Turning. Oh, well. There you go. Pushing to leeward, pushing to leeward. Happy to hit
If the thinking would be a replay of the opening race, just move for move. Let's go on board Chase 0 with Peter Lester. What did you make of it, Pete?
If they take our time, we go with them.
Well, with both boats being late, it sort of evened the course up, and that gave the advantage to Alinghi Red Bull Racing. I was a little bit surprised that the INEOS didn't push harder for the line because the line was open for them. Now we've got another classic race, and who has the speed? Who's faster? Both boats heading over towards the city side or over to the right, and that the wind over the course looks a little bit more even than it did for the first match.
This is going right. Anytime you feel like a good time.
Sing any time from now when you feel a better.
Stand by here. 2, 12, forward down. 3, 2, 1, mate. Turning. Very nice. 1, going. Swim. Okay, focus on B and G here.
Britannia doing a really nice job to actually keep their air clean all the way across on that previous tack. So doing the best job they can do to keep it tight and actually keep now a little bit of pressure on Alinghi Red Bull Racing to stay clear to windward there. So very tight race.
Feels like they might struggle to get to boundary. Got pressure coming down to us in 10 here. Could be lefty.
INEOS Britannia actually closing that gap. They did so well positioning.
They've kept their air intake clean the whole way across here, so absolutely doing the best possible job they can after that late start.
Put down. 2, 1, no. Okay, slow here. 2, 1, go board.
Deep press. 2, 1.
Nice pressure
Pressure coming on.
Pressure now. We have a bit of
What
margin.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing need to do now, they actually need to hurt them on the next tack. So they haven't really put them in the dirty air as yet. They will need to line them up on this next one to take an advantage.
With this, lock it in. When do you want to get out here, man? When you see a good moment pressure-wise? Yeah, okay.
Happy to open the chip. Yeah, we have 20 seconds on port for the lay line.
Probably got to go. Let's think about going here. Yeah, stand by. 2, fine, forward down. 3, 2, 1, mate. Turning. 1, 2, 1, going forward. A little softer here.
Red Bull Racing pushing all the way to lay line here. They'll have to be careful of the boundary.
Then by tack.
Top right, maybe for the run, but also top left looks good.
Turning.
Talk to me about here.
So Alinghi Red Bull Racing tacking there on what they think is potentially the lay line there for the top of the course. So we're hoping they can get a little lift there, a little right-hand breeze, accelerate the boat up to speed and save themselves one manoeuvre versus INEOS.
15 seconds on the box. Be close with them at the top. Let's take a rest now. Yeah, most of it. Nice, though, good speed.
Big righty.
2, 1, slow down.
For the second consecutive race, another fascinating first upwind leg, but at this point in time, it's advantage Alinghi Red Bull Racing, but not by much. They will lead the Challenger of Record at the top gate. Leg one's done, 5 to go. It's a long way. And then goes INEOS Britannia. Nothing in the second race of the Louis Vuitton Cup semi-finals.
Fine. Hold it.
Oh yes, you love that early excitement. Just remember, 5 legs to go. Remember American Magic in race 1.
Off the course at the moment, we're just getting in front of it. Locking her in. Gonna get light in a minute. Okay, working up.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shortening the course to 1.45 nautical miles.
Okay, getting closer, stand by.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing, they're possibly driving back a little earlier than I would have thought they would have backed through the gas and dirty air there. So big gains there to INEOS Britannia, all getting quite high there and heeled. So that rudder only just in the water there for the British. So they're the right-of-way boat now. Alinghi Red Bull Racing having to give way. And a high-pressure jibe here for Alinghi.
No problem, lads. Nice work. Nice, lads. Lock it again. Should be long this way now, Sean. Little increase in 3.
INEOS Britannia just blowing through to lead there. So a lead change
Eyes on them
in this race.
Only one side.
That's an EQ there. Yeah, faster, similar angle at the minute.
We've seen INEOS Britannia really quite quick in these conditions on the downwind lags.
Back down, big lefty.
Where is the breeze?
Yes, really tight tune.
A nice gauge there, last
Really nice puff out that left-hand side looking downwind in INEOS Britannia, and beautiful jibe. You saw how quickly the boat hooked up out of it, which meant there was a good shift as well as pressure. So definitely picked the right way to go there.
Hi, well. Good. 2, 1, going board. Nice, locking it in again.
Let's go on board Chase 0. Peter Lester. Didn't take long for INEOS Britannia to find its nose in front.
Well, we just know from all the other racing that INEOS are really fast on the downwind leg. Also, the left-hand side of the downwinds has been favoured. Seems like a little bit more pressure, especially on the downwind on the left.
Perfect example of how quick they are. INEOS Britannia downwind. Stomping the foot on the accelerator.
Lined up a couple of beautiful shifts and puffs down there, Shirley, and really done some damage against Alinghi Red Bull Racing there. And I think mostly shift and puff related. They're obviously going well performance-wise as well, but really lining up some nice ones there.
2, hit it. 1, going board. Okay, little increase coming in 10. Slow hit. Locking her in here, let the speed come.
Pressure looks okay out of this right turn at the moment. How does it look the other way?
I think it's light. I think we take the right turn. Could be right in 15. In assessments, we can always cover. Yep. Happy here for now, lads. This is good. It's going softer patch in 5.
Going light at the mark. Just
major speed on the first downward leg for INEOS Britannia.
Here for now. 5 away.
They really have made a statement to Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
2, 1. Okay, 2.
One little wobble and we will get you. And we will get you good. They've really opened up a big gap.
Locking her in. All the way.
In comes Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Led at the top gate, not at the bottom, completing leg number 2. The second race of the Louis Vuitton Cup semi-finals.
Keep pushing.
Nice surrounding by both teams there.
Big trim.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing having to sort of do the quite soaky, slow two-board turn, so speed advantage there to the British, taking the right turn, looking downwind, and British now just looking to put the clamps on this race and not give Alinghi Red Bull Racing too much breathing room from here.
Pressure coming in 2.
90 now. Watching the immersion there, Blends just all good.
Like good pressure on the bow, eh?
Yeah. Still left as well.
He tags. Having to switch the other side of him. I think, how's it look at the top left though?
It looks okay, just looks really good on the bow here, doesn't it?
Yeah. And nice,
further away on the left.
nice shift too, eh? So,
yeah.
No breather.
Not far from boundary. Going level in this puff. Okay. Down, Rebo, you again. Forward down. Right. 2, 8.
Not sure what to do here.
Onto Alinghi Red Bull Racing's chase boat with coach Pietro Sabello. Great start, but out of that top gate, how do you call that one, Pietro?
Yeah, for sure was a great start. The guys did an amazing job in super fast on the line, and then keep covering the INEOS to the top gate. Of course, the split there didn't help, and they seem to be fast downwind, and now we are a bit behind. But the guys, I mean, it's super job. They're doing a great job on keeping it close, and I'm sure that we are very close to win the races.
Just how much confidence you get from knowing you can win starts like that?
Yeah, it is important, you know. It's everything we can do. Our coaches team, Dean Barker, Jason Waterhouse, Phil Robertson, they're doing a great job on working on the pre-start, and you guys can see the outcome of it. For sure, starting in front is key to win races. Now we have to work on the second stage.
Yep, hear what you're saying. Thanks for your time, Pietro.
Thank you.
INEOS Britannia just doing a really nice job of lining up some good breeze and some good shifts on this upwind, and not really giving Alinghi Red Bull Racing any wriggle room at all. They've got some great vision up the course, the British, and the comms between Dylan Fletcher and Ben Ainsley really looking far up the course and out wide to what they're sailing into, so really sailing the boat well.
Go nice, lads. Thinking about we might want to take this right turn at the top then and get back into that shift.
This is Matt Gottfried, Olympic gold medalist rowing.
Sounds like a plan.
It's quite a big heart rate.
Look like this right.
Phenomenal athletes, all these cyclists.
All good here. Not sure.
Okay, we're going right turn.
This is the race committee. We are moving the leeward gate, shifting the axis to 170.
In about 5.
Halfway through the second semi-final of the Louis Vuitton Cup semi-finals here in Barcelona. It's INEOS Britannia who stretch their lead on Alinghi Red Bull Racing as they head downwind on leg number 4. Britannia's quick.
Lock it in. Take the hook up, still more coming. Okay, big pin on here, lads. Nice.
Voice of Lee McMillan there, flight control. Just taking on some wind spotting and moding duties for the team. Doing a nice job.
Pressure back in 5.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing trying to put into action the words of Pedro Isabella. We know we can start. It's the second part we've got to get right. Right now, they've got to catch INEOS Britannia. And that, at this particular point in time, is a tall order.
1 and clear. All the way, huh?
Nice rounding there from Alinghi Red Bull Racing. They keep doing simple things well, keep pressure on their opponents.
Lighter in front, but still on the right team. Make fast. A bit to push them. Fast.
It has rotated slightly to the right-hand side as predicted.
Pressing past, potentially pressing past would be interesting. That's going to be a bit of gas down there. Okay, good bit of pressure here. I soak up here. Yeah, they're just going to drive that boundary. A couple more puffs here. Open course for us. How's it look that side? Just okay. It's pretty patchy again. I think if you right here, happy, we take it. Yeah.
Quite a slow turn there from Alinghi Red Bull Racing. I'm not sure. Almost an issue there. Not a good sign for the Swiss.
Big trip.
One.
Bit nuts here.
Just looked like a super slow turn, Shirley on board for that jibe, so I'm not sure what went on there. Just a really long, slow, coasty turn, sailing into light air. You've got to be able to get onto the power quicker than that in those conditions, so massive loss there. You see the distance, 36 knots versus 25 as they're sailing across the course to accelerate. And a huge lead here to the British.
Happy to extend 20 more if you check. No pressure.
We just come back from there, so
no pressure.
That's a big ask from the cyclers. That's Nico Stahlberg giving it beans.
Nice pressure along the left.
Those touchdowns so costly in these boats. You've got to go back to basically starting from scratch with your power settings, so pretty much from 10th gear back to first gear. So we'll just have a look at the stride here now. What a slow turn. You see the jib just floating across there and exiting really low through wind angle for quite light air. So I think they just came out just too deep in that jibe. Came out expecting a little more breeze perhaps.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shifting the course axis to 175.
INEOS Britannia have linked in lead on the back of that bore jibe by Alinghi Red Bull Racing. It would be easy to say they're cruising, but they certainly will not be cruising. They want to sail it clean and fast they are.
We've seen some skids and some wobbles from the British as well over the last couple of weeks, so only just above that 20 knot sort of danger zone boat speed wise to keep the boat on the foils.
Let's push to that.
Definitely some puff and lulls out there, yes.
Yeah, it's definitely light at this bottom half of the track. We're seeing sort of 7, 8 knots.
So where Alinghi Red Bull Racing came off the foils, the British will be heading up into that lighter air section. So snakes and ladders.
Well, the question is then, do we have another wrinkle in this race?
Let's do a nice thing.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing approach the bottom mark.
Nice. Still, yes, one is around them. Quite coming in fast, but to start trimming.
There's a substantial gap, but with light wind, who knows what could unfold with 2 legs to go.
down on the right.
Stand by tack.
Yep.
2, 1, cross down. And turning in. Right on exit.
2, 1.
Definitely attacking pressure for Alinghi Rebel racing there, which is what you're trying to line up if you can when you're open course, is to try and tack where you're sailing into pressure and a good shift. So
No grip here.
We've seen, haven't we, over the last 2 weeks, that no lead ever seems quite big enough. You never feel safe. So if you're in the Swiss boat now, all you can do is just join up the bits of pressure, try and keep it as close as you can.
Mid-beat now.
On board the INEOS Britannia chase boat with coach Rob Wilson. Rob, the way you've started, confidence is everything, and it would be a nice confidence booster in this first semi-final for you guys.
Yeah, no, it was you know, it was a tight first beat. You know, the Swiss had the better of us, that's for sure. You know, they're a good opponent, and we just got into a bit of pressure at the top right of the course with that right turn, and you know, that leveled us up, and then they've done a real nice job from there on, and the Swiss are just trying to keep it tight.
Robbie, yeah, you guys were quite late at that start. Was there any issues on board there at all?
We're struggling a little bit on the time to kills today, to be honest. But hopefully we'll be able to sort it out during the break.
Well, with a good coaching team, mate, you should be all right. Good on you, mate.
We've got Zabby. Zabby's on the job. He'll be able to sort it out with the time to kills.
Nice, some solid men. Good work.
Yeah. Nice guys.
Xavi Fernandez is talking about one of the coaching staff.
So he's certainly no stranger to high-performance yachting. 49er legend, and been with INEOS Britannia for quite some time. Doing a little bit of recon work with Lee McMillan over the last campaign or two, and certainly got a great eye for high-performance sailing.
Hey, my well. Yep, metro. Little softer.
INEOS Britannia lining up the top gate for the last time in their opening race of the Louis Vuitton Cup semi-finals. As you heard from Coach Rob Wilson, start wasn't perfect, but early days, because there's a whole brand new regatta now. We start again. They start from zero. First to 5 race wins will head into the Louis Vuitton Cup final. Will it be INEOS Britannia?
2, 1, 4 down here. Wave 2, 1, 8. Turning. 2, 2, 1, 2, 5. Big wave here. Down.
Full concentration on board in these manoeuvres.
Taking main.
There's some light air patches out there we're seeing on the wind map. So I've seen it before.
Little hit. Here.
Coming off the foils doesn't help you one way or the other.
There we go, nice.
So Alinghi Red Bull Racing with work to do just quickly before they round the mark, Pete.
Just down to the finisher.
INEOS Britannia impressive again.
This way.
Yeah, they've just kicked on from where they were, you know, through the round robins, and they've just gone from strength to strength, and now they've got confidence, and they look really strong and fast.
Yeah, fast is the key. It's the old story. Fastest boat wins the Louis Vuitton 37th America's Cup. But there are a number of fast boats out there. I'm sure Alinghi Red Bull Racing would like to be a bit faster today. But that's, as Glenn said, that early drive on the first downward leg cost them dearly. They are just the chaser now. Look where INEOS Britannia are in relation to where they are.
Plus 5.
2, 1. And getting the pressure.
That's a lead and a half.
Nearly a kilometre and a half, that is. That is a lot.
How could you not build confidence on these continuing good performances from the back end, of the round robin series into the semi-finals? And these are the ones that really do count now.
3, 2, 1, mate, turning, 2, 1, 1, 2, hit 1, going board.
All the teams will have made performance gains, but for INEOS Britannia, they've certainly added something downwind. They've extended on all the downwind leg.
Less than 30, it's not going.
Those touchdowns really costly there, and Alinghi Red Bull Racing just shows you one little wobble, a little touchdown, and it's game over.
Yes, but what we did see was American Magic come home. It was only a 7-second win. What we are seeing with the official challenger of record is all-out pace. And that should have everybody, including the defender, nervous. INEOS Britannia have won their first race in the Louis Vuitton Cup semi-finals, and they have done it in style. And again, they have made a monster statement. We are quick.
Nice, brother. Good work, Dills.
Oh, good, man.
Nice job, Shreki.
That was all over the place, wasn't it? Yeah. Stuck on that start, line left, just couldn't get the tank. Yeah.
No, look at that. They're just quietly thinking about what they have to do next, because they've got one more to go. 2 races each of the pairs on the opening day of the Louis Vuitton Cup semi-finals. And you heard Ben Ansley say there, you know, just didn't get that start right, and that was has already been echoed, you might say, by coach Rob Wilson. But gee whiz, I mean, when they get going, that's a scary boat.
Certainly sailing really nice, and I think the biggest gains I can see personally for the British team of what they've done over the last couple of weeks is just in the way they're sailing the boat. You know, they've obviously made some performance gains with equipment and settings, but to me it's just how well they're sailing their boat. And Alinghi Red Bull Racing are doing generally a really nice job of sailing their boat too. Just a couple of small unforced errors there during that race has turned into quite a large deficit in these conditions, so just need to keep pushing hard and they'll be able to be right there.
Still a lot to like about what Alinghi Red Bull Racing can do. But I go back to what you said. We've said it already. Same thing with American Magic. One more mistake, bang, someone's going to pounce and it's going to cost you dearly. And you cannot afford really, with the first to 5, to make early mistakes, because they'll be costly right then and you'll be going home. Alinghi Red Bull Racing, well beaten by INEOS Britannia in their opening Louis Vuitton Cup semi-final. They won the start. That was about it. And they come home 2 minutes and 5 seconds behind. Ouch. All I'm going to say is, oh, this start could be a shaky one. Wait and see. Alinghi Red Bull Racing had a ripper of a start last time around, but the wind was better.
And Alinghi Red Bull Racing look like they've come off the foils here.
No,
but
no.
They need to tack.
They're off the foil.
They need to tack here and make sure they're within the boundary. Otherwise they will get a boundary penalty, which they do not need. So they've got a big job now to try and re-accelerate. The boat does not want to accelerate forward here in these light conditions when you spin it that hard in displacement mode. So Alinghi
INEOS Britannia well late into the gate.
Too late, past 2:10.
So Alinghi Red Bull Racing asking for a 15-minute delay, but I feel they may have pulled their card too late.
Unfortunately, the delay card needs to be requested before the warning signal.
So you heard there from Mel Roberts. Penalty.
This is the umpires. Boundary penalty Switzerland. Boundary penalty Switzerland.
So the Swiss team absolutely needing to accelerate here. Very, very light where they are, so they will need to accelerate, get the boat foiling, enter, and then try and make the start. Pressure now on the British to keep on the foils. So you see Alinghi there, out of bounds with a penalty. The British now time on distance, so the Swiss very much on the back foot. They need to dig the boat out of the water here. Looks like they're accelerating just about on the foils, so they need a little puff here.
They're up with 60 seconds to go and aiming towards the start line. Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Could you ask for anything more, but they have the penalty.
Penalty, failed entry Switzerland.
INEOS Britannia off the foils.
Oh, this is all on. So the Swiss still have to enter and clear their penalty. So the penalty will be a get behind penalty. So they still have to be behind the British at the start. So they've got to time their run now to make sure they're behind, watch the penalty, and then stay in the race.
INEOS Britannia up to pace.
So Alinghi Rebel Racing will need to tack and dip, watch their penalty.
Big push.
We are finally racing in the last Louis Vuitton Cup semi-final of the day.
British rolling immediately into attack there. Just keeping their boat on the foils. Deep cambers in their sails, so max power there on INEOS Britannia, doing a nice job.
Good pressure here.
Alinghi Rebel Racing needing to wash off that penalty. Not sure how far they've got to go with that penalty, but they should be fairly close.
Copy. They continue, they tack. I think we tack on them. Yeah.
Bottom.
5, 2, 1.
Penalties cleared. Penalties cleared.
2, 1. Hold down, no rush.
Push out the back.
So as we've seen in the past, very, very difficult to keep the boats on the foils here.
Hey, where's the pressure,
A lot of pressure on both teams to stay foiling.
21 to battery.
Alinghi Rebel Racing, a huge amount of work ahead of them here in this race so early on, coming off the foils in that pre-start, just getting them on the back foot.
This is the race committee. We are moving the leeward gate, shifting the course axis to 200.
Alright, big foot, guys. Holding gear, 90 knots. Slowly coming back up.
Let's go to Chaser 0. Peter Lester, what do you make of that?
Well, it's all about who can keep foiling, and look at the two boats, and Alinghi Red Bull Racing look to have, you know, the harder time keeping the boat up all the time. INEOS looks just a little bit more comfortable. They can throw the boat round. The boat looks just a little bit more forgiving.
Makes sense. There is the same in front. Let's get to the speed.
Every manoeuvre high risk. You've really got to save it for maximum wind pressure. You've been so smooth in execution.
Nice hit in 2. Getting close here. Hey. Yep. And by here. Yep, all good. 2, 5, 4 down. 3, 2, 1, 8. Landing. 5, 2, 1. Going forward. Nice little increase in 2.
Nice manoeuvre there on INEOS Britannia. Beautiful pitch control, ride height control in that manoeuvre. So to keep the boat boat speed above 26 knots, ideally entering those manoeuvres if they can.
Yeah, eventually one in. There'll be recovery tempo. Going left. It'd be nice to lay, but I guess we've got to make a decision early.
On board INEOS Britannia, the green wheel indicating that Ben Ainsley is
get some pace on and go
on the
right
helm
turn.
at the moment. Dylan Fletcher, course management.
Good speed here, no slower, boys.
Tactics.
15.
So it may have looked like a bit of a cluster, the start of this final race of the day, but It's turned out okay, at least for INEOS Britannia at this particular point of the race. They've completed one leg of 6 in conditions that are challenging both teams. And they will take the left-hand mark, as you see, right for them. And get around it and head on the first downward leg of the 4th race of these Louis Vuitton Cup semi-finals. The road to the challenge for the old mug gets just a little bit closer, but you've got to win the Louis Vuitton Cup first and foremost.
INEOS Britannia did so well in that manoeuvre. It looked quite dodgy in the middle. They were down to 20 knots, but just managed to power up and accelerate. Keep flying. Nice work.
Okay. Stand by.
Big pressure on Alinghi. Red Bull Racing to stay on the foils here because they need to keep in touch. It's puffy, shifty, light air day as it is at the moment, so they do execute, but a big deficit to make up to the British, who have been able to keep their boat on the foils since the pre-start.
Alinghi, Red Bull Racing now in catch-up mode. I don't think they have that button on their boat, but that's what it's all about. Got to catch up now, and we know how quick INEOS has been. They know how quick INEOS is after that 2-minute and 5-second loss in their opening race of the day.
Nice little puff of breeze there at the top. You can see on the water there and how quickly the boat accelerated. So really important for the crew on board to identify those puffs, make sure that you're manoeuvring and staying in those and joining all those dots together. Keep the boat on its foils and going fast.
Let's go to chase 0. Peter Lester, what's the wind doing in sort of that second half of the course?
Top of the course looks a little bit, you know, a little bit steadier, a little bit more predictable. That's the bottom of the course that looks really, really funky, and that's the bit that INEOS will need to navigate first. But the INEOS boat just looks a little bit easier to sail, and it keeps foiling at quite a low speed. And so I just look out the window. Alinghi Red Bull Racing did a jibe and they did a big sideways skid. They saved it. They keep the boat on the foils.
Just looking nice along this side at the moment. Little past it? Yeah, a little past it. Yeah.
Really big foil ventilation there, as Peter said, and popped back up again. They just were lucky that they had enough boat speed. Alinghi Red Bull Racing, as we're watching INEOS Britannia, have to execute well. See the depth of the mainsail there, absolutely as deep as you can get it for max power. Sailing the boat nicely.
Is biased at the moment here, but I'm not sure. I'm going for our gas. Yeah, I think let's go right turn here.
INEOS Britannia looks comfortable. Cyclones are doing a lot of work in conditions that are going up and down like a yo-yo, but they will complete the second leg and head upwind on the 3rd of 6 in this 4th Louis Vuitton Cup semi-final.
2, 1. Go forward down here. 2, 1. Lead. Turning. Keep my well. Back and on. Bit light initially and then pressure back. Yeah, push out a bit.
Nice solid manoeuvre there by the British team.
Let's go forward.
It's going to keep executing these light air manoeuvres well. Certainly made some improvements in their light air tacking ability over the past couple of weeks.
Thank you, mate.
Pressing for the belt here. All right.
I think he'll be hoping to lay this bottom gate in one and not have to do another manoeuvre if they can avoid it. Very, very marginal conditions at the bottom of the course.
Everything for this time.
Next one is a roundup.
As the player roundup in 5.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing coming in to complete the second leg. It was 1 minute 18 seconds at the top gate. And just a tad over that at the bottom. 1 minute 22 seconds. Long way to go. It's a rough old day for Alinghi Red Bull Racing in boat one.
Little eye mode for the breeze, if we can. 21.
This is the race committee. We are moving the leeward gate, shifting the course axis to 210.
Pressure now.
Entry the zone now.
5, 2, 1.
Still got a few shifts coming down the course here, and race committee just realigning the course for the shifty breeze to make sure it's dead into the wind, which is a nice true even course for both teams.
One of us.
You see the big right-hand shift there of the British, that big wind, so picking some really nice lanes on this upwind. INEOS Britannia and the coaching team will be happy that the guys are sailing with their eyeballs open.
Get on a little right here.
It looks like with the right breeze, an increase in pressure. It's just sort of wafted in. They've now got between 8 and 10 knots across the course.
The foil trimmers on INEOS Britannia actually at the back of the boat, which is a different philosophy to what the other teams have got with their sideclaws at the back. So both foil trimmers there. Lee McMillan, Lennon
square at the top here, it's not a huge amount in it. Yeah, just
over the side of the boat, plus all their screens and actually controlling
potentially lighter at the top.
The flight of the boat.
Hey, stand by.
Really important job to do well.
Looking at the foil a lot.
Yeah, push it. 3, 2, 1, mate. 2, 1.
So Lee McMillan now taking over flight control.
For the windward.
Leading on over the side, so you get a really good view from where they're sitting. That's probably why they've put their trimmers in those positions. Fantastic view of before going through the water surface, plus all their instrumentation.
We are at the halfway mark in the last Louis Vuitton Cup semi-final of the day. Day number 1. Remember, the first boat to 5 race wins will head into the Louis Vuitton Cup final. INEOS Britannia are on course to 2, but it's only halfway.
Okay, anytime. Stand by. 2, 1, put down. 2, 1.
A lovely shot of the breeze there. We don't need the wind field to see it there. A lot more pressure at the top end of the track.
They're pushing now, let's go. Hey. Head. Cat. Long way this way. Tempo. That's right, lads. Huge ride here, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, one and in at the moment. And I'm out here. That's weak.
Let's go for this tank then.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing powering their way to the top gate to complete the halfway mark and their second Louis Vuitton Cup semi-final. But they've got a lot of catching up to do. 1 minute and 20. It was 1:21 at the bottom.
Nice one. 120.
Nice tack
on the right
bear away there for Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Fantastic shot of their foils. So downwind there, 37 knots in only about 7 or 8 knots of breeze, which is definitely getting downwind. British still having to execute every manoeuvre really well there. In these lighter conditions, the foils not going as fast through the water as they are when the boats are going quicker in big breeze, so having to work a little harder, a little bit more flat down, so a little bit like an aeroplane wing with a slow-flying aircraft where you put the flaps down. Lee McMillan looking over the side there, watching the ride height, looking at his camera, looking at the spray rails. You see the orange mark there as a ride height guide for him, plus the tips. Very important job for all the teams.
INEOS Britannia steaming into the bottom gate to complete their 4th leg. They won't be mucking around. 2 legs to go. They want that solid advantage in the Louis Vuitton Cup semi-finals. They come in at pace, coming in hot.
Stand by here, Leroy. Okay, and 4, 2, 1, mate. Standing. Very well. Okay, right, go wide.
That choreography between both foil trimmers super important. Both independently controlling their foils, plus potentially the pitch trim of the boat. Really, really important there to get right.
Nice pressure into long tempo here.
On board the chase boat for INEOS Britannia coach Rob Wilson. Should we forget about the start and talk about the race?
Good pressure this way.
Yeah, that sounds good. Like it was a real tricky start. We were super close coming off the foils, but managed to just keep up. Alinghi obviously came off, which gave him the penalty that gave us a nice buffer.
One thing that's noticeable as coming through these last group of races at the end of the round robins until today as well is your ability to get yourself out of trouble quickly and how well the boat is flying in light air.
Yeah, no, we're really pleased with the performance, and you know, I think that comes a lot down to all the hard work the shore team are doing and the guys in the performance team. So it's a massive credit to them to push it forward like they have.
All right, thanks, mate.
Cheers, buddy.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing now completed 4 legs, but they've lost a lot of time on that downwind leg. 2 to go for the Swiss challenger.
Ryan Metro and Nicola Roulard, flight control for Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Their oppos, Lee McMillan, Glenn Mont, they're sort of doing the same job on Alinghi Red Bull Racing, flying the boat. They're actually in the flight positions well forward on the boat. And Nicola there concentrating hard on flying the boat accurately. The more accurately you, as a foil trimmer, you fly the boat, the better the performance. So absolutely super critical job, as is steering and trimming the sails. It's a real juggle, 3D sailing.
Pressure back in 5.
This is the race committee. We are moving the finish line, lengthening the leg to 1.4 nautical miles.
Back to the right,
That's always a good sign, making the course longer.
Might be a little higher mode here. Copy, taking mate. Visual straight in. Got to have a bit in the bag in case we go right. Yeah, recover that tempo.
Port helmsman Dylan Fletcher. I mean, the synchronicity between this team, the transition over the last couple of weeks has really been off the scale, and particularly for Dylan Fletcher, Cup rookie, really taking it on.
Every race is just absolutely golden at the moment for Dylan, as it is for the whole team.
INEOS Britannia complete the last upwind leg and they turn for home. They turn for home with a potential 2-0 lead on Alinghi Red Bull Racing, sitting, waiting.
On the back.
So the wet getting put into those pedals. Hats off to all the cyclists today in these tricky, puffy conditions. Lots of gear changes. Way harder to sail a boat in these conditions than it is when it's 15 or 16 knots. The lighter it is, the trickier it is in most cases.
On INEOS, 2 of the cyclers always have a sailing background, and I'm sure they have other functions. Quite often you see them heads up actually looking at things. That is Luke Parkinson. Offshore sailor, cup sailor, regular with Ben Ainsley.
Bit of a tempo, Parker. Along this way at the moment.
Down to the finish here, right? Yeah. Little squeeze. Okay, touch more pressure in 5. Open course now.
Same that before.
Very nice pressure, yeah. It's kind of changing
Alinghi
now.
Red Bull Racing coming up to complete the 5th leg of 6.
On our left.
And the debrief will be long, it'll hurt, but
well down,
that's what you've got to expect when you're racing in the America's Cup. Little moments cost big. They get around it. Both boards down, finally get one up. And they're away again, heading for home.
T110.
Fast. Nice pressure in front.
25 to battery.
Definitely looks like that. Slightly more pressure increasing.
20.
That top end of the course out that side. So Alinghi choosing to do the same manoeuvre as they did in the last leg, the tack bear away, executing both manoeuvres really well.
Okay, keep going. Yeah. Keep a little bit of that. Rebuild here now.
There's a real dialogue between both sides on INEOS Britannia, and I'm not sure we're quite hearing that to the same extent on Alinghi.
Down.
You know, decisions seem to evolve on INEOS Britannia. They're discussed in advance.
Got to be intuitive, don't they? Don't know what the other sort of thinking. And they just have pure trust in each other that what they've decided is the way to go. INEOS Britannia, the official challenger of record, are steaming home on the first day of the Louis Vuitton Cup Finals. And when they cross the line, they will go 2-0 against Alinghi Red Bull Racing. What a start to the day of the semi-finals.
What's your arm? Here we go. Yeah, keep line up. Off the course.
Not much more we can say about INEOS Britannia. We've said it for the last 4 or 5 races. They've got a handle on their boat, and boy, they obviously are happy in the coach boat as well, because job well done, they'll be saying. Time for a cup of tea and a lie down and a debrief.
Zavi getting a little pat on the head there, as he should. Full team doing a fantastic job. They'll be very happy with the day.
Quite light after the bottom, but
on lefty.
So as we see Alinghi Red Bull Racing coming down for the final time today, what do you think they're going to make of their day, Glenn, and where they need to pick up?
Yeah, I think that last pre-start was a real tricky one for the team, and sailing into light conditions and not being able to stay on the foils, I think, was really the Achilles heel for getting off the start line in that second race today. So not much you can do when you're on the back foot. They did get going again, but we're just out of it, and they'll definitely have some things to work on as a team, but we've seen them sail really, really well in the past, and they'll come out tomorrow all guns blazing, no question there.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing, they will come across the finish line and they'll finish the day without a win. But remember, it's the first to 5 race wins if you want to be in the Louis Vuitton Cup final. So never say never in the world of America's Cup racing. But it's been a dominant day on the water for INEOS Britannia. So it will be INEOS Britannia coming in on board at 2 minutes and 10 seconds, and Alinghi Red Bull Racing at 2 minutes on the starboard side. The one thing we've seen from Alinghi Red Bull Racing, their starts are strong. They've got to convert them though.
Okay, stand by.
Both teams lining up here, coming into shot on time for their entries.
18 rotation, please. Okay, back and down.
Green light for the official challenger of record, INEOS Britannia.
Okay, stand by. Forward down, forward moving.
Green light for Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
now we're down 2, 1, and diving gear. Bridge north.
The Swiss wanting to stay tight as they possibly can. Loose there. Swiss team, British deciding to roll into a loop to then put pressure back on the Swiss team. Decision time now for Alinghi Red Bull Racing to match.
Your wheel, my wheel.
Oh, big touchdown there, Alinghi. They haven't executed that manoeuvre well. They're on the ropes here.
Pick them up, go the other way.
Talk to me about them.
There's your on board, to board, to press.
So they'll be looking at plan B and plan C now. Their pre-start
Big one, big trip.
in tatters.
Yeah, INEOS Britannia on the way back together.
There's your attacking, so big drivers.
Minute to go.
Memory serves me correct, they did this yesterday in the start box as well,
35 for the pit.
with a minute to go.
Big up here.
British here lining them up. Alinghi having to avoid protest here. Big risk of a collision. Oh, that is super close there.
Don't jibe here, please.
Must be a penalty.
All good now, mate.
Just Slater. These guys could risk rolling the boat over here, Alinghi, if they're not careful.
Keep pushing, boys.
Whoa.
They've saved it, but they are absolute sitting ducks at the moment. Big rebuild here
Just
for
keep
Alinghi.
lower Kent on the other side.
Enough breeze to take off on the foils again, but only 15 seconds to start here. The British time on distance from here. They've done what they've needed to do.
11, 9, 8, the peel. Okay, up. 6, hit it, boys. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Drama in the start box for the third outing between these two teams, but it's INEOS Britannia up and flying. Alinghi Red Bull Racing trying to get themselves back up on the foils.
Don't burn matches, they're off the foil.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing just trying to get a little too fancy in the pre-start, and it's absolutely blown their foot clean off. Massively on the back foot now. Huge grind there to get the main back on and stay on the foils, and they're back off the foils again to get through the start line, so they will have a huge deficit to make up here.
I'm sure we'll look at that port starboard again, but it was cleared by the umpires. There was no penalty. They must have felt that INEOS Britannia was perhaps hunting them.
It'll be very interesting later on to have a replay of that with the electronic boundaries, see what happened there exactly. But British now just having to bring the shoulders back, enjoy the ride from here.
They are still off the foil. Hey, main is good.
Just seeing this another angle here. British, I think, actually in the end there, unexpected of what they saw. They were expecting one thing, and then in the end they were just avoiding a collision. So very, very interesting situation there. But they put Alinghi under pressure, and they got what they wanted. They got them off the foils and in a compromised position. And an unforced error there from the Swiss. So very, very lucky to not capsize the yacht.
Keep pushing. And jibing. Don't jibe here, please.
View from above here. Yeah, I think the British there rolling through, actually jibing, and then becoming the windward yacht, but I think actually avoiding a collision. So the result's the same, no collision, and now they're over a kilometre in front of the Swiss team.
Let's go to chase zero, Pete.
I've got to say, I was holding my breath. I thought, oh my goodness, this is going to be a big one. And it was that last turn by Alinghi, and from there they were in trouble. And for me, what was running through my mind, that was the master against an apprentice. And a superb job by Ben Ainsley and his team in terms of boat handling, course awareness, pre-start awareness. Pretty to watch, but it could have been ever so ugly. So, you know, good avoidance by Ben Ainsley also right at the last minute.
Well, Arnaud Sarfagas and his team, they knew they had to do something special in that pre-start, and were really trying, you know, to execute a great start.
I agree went through my mind. Ruthless by INEOS.
Absolutely, Stephen. I agree with Pete. You know, it was a real fantastic display of extreme boat handling under pressure there by the British. Good to have a little look down the track at some onboard. Oh, here we go.
Jibing.
Off the bridge there. So jibing. Real defensive manoeuvre there. You see how easy that front sail is, and they would full power down here going, we've got a bit on. And that is as close as you ever want to see two AC-75s come together at pace.
Crodas, jibing.
I'd say that cracking noise would have been some damage inside the mainsail skins. You heard the crack like a gunshot going off. That'll be breaking carbon inside the rig of INEOS Britannia.
But what that's led to is this at the top gate. Massive advantage to INEOS Britannia on the first upwind leg. What a dramatic day we're having already. Still 2 races to go.
Just to put all those in Great Britain at ease, it's not a catastrophic failure of that noise cracking. It'll just be some carbon bridges inside holding the twin skin mainsails apart near the front of the mast, so not a big job to fix. Annoying for boat builders, but a bit like breaking an icy pole stick. They'll stick it back together again pretty quick.
Put down. 3, 2, 1, mate. Turning.
I suppose what we saw there in that manoeuvre too was pressure. Huge pressure being applied by INEOS and Alinghi Red Bull Racing cracking under it.
Building on his head.
Still hearing that noise as they're jibing the boat, so potentially there's some sail bridges.
He's coming nicely.
Not happy in there, but they'll be looking to get them sorted out as quick as they can. They're all in good shape.
Top gate for the first time. They've got their boat back and flying at a good speed, but look at the distance between the two. Alinghi Red Bull Racing complete leg number 1 and race 3 of their semi-final showdown with INEOS Britannia. I'm sure the heart rates of Alinghi have come down somewhat. Probably took half a leg to do it.
Certainly some skid marks on the race course, and there'll definitely be some skid marks in the undies, I think, after that intersection from both boats. That was super close, and a really good job there by the British not to put a hole in the side of that beautiful Swiss boat. Boys now pushing hard.
8+6.
No time to really catch a breath. They're having to do a lot of trim work there in that pre-start. 2 complete rebuilds, which uses pretty much all your gas in the tank before you even get off the start line.
Back on mode 2 for the downwind.
A lot of pressure on this young Swiss team. Backroom filled with Alinghi management. You know, sailors and managers used to being successful in the America's Cup arena. I can imagine it's been a tough 2 weeks.
Looks like they are very good at doing out, guys.
Elkins going out.
And not touching.
Max Bachelin steering at the moment on port.
And a little righty for us. Thank you.
You know, going back to that start, the other thing that's coming to my mind now is the regatta continues. INEOS Britannia's statement of intent. They are not going to be messed with. So it's another little signal to everybody watching that they are in here and they're going to play tough. If you need to play tough and rough, they will. INEOS Britannia around the gate to complete leg number 2. Sweet as roses.
It's a lovely manoeuvre there. And flight controllers there. Led them on, Lee McMillan. In actual fact, that not only that mark rounding, but that pre-start situation.
Okay, 25 this way.
Rolls on board.
Okay, average check.
Let's go on. INEOS Britannia's changed back with coach Rob Wilson. We've been using the word ruthless in that start boxes. Is that a statement of intent about how you intend to continue this regatta, Rob?
It was. I think the boys just saw the opportunity, you know, just to get the advantage on Alinghi, and they certainly took it. I wouldn't say it's ruthless. It's all part of the game, isn't it? Like, everyone's playing for big stakes.
Rob, Glenn here. I'm sure not only you guys would have been quite surprised with how that all ended up, but There would have been a few nervous moments for your shore crew there, seeing that unfold, but boys did a great job to keep it all in one piece and keep the boat upright.
Yeah, for sure. There was, you know, we were all nervous on the chase boats, that's for sure. But you know, I'm sure it was pretty calculated.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate the time, mate. Alinghi Red Bull Racing finish the second leg and head upwind for leg number 3. And they've got a lot of chasing to do.
Extend a bit. Still 25. Very good mode still, huh? Take this gain.
Past intersection, so open course here, bend 25 to boundary. Maybe a little press time on the bow, but any time was good.
Shot there of the British boat.
Very nice. Okay, stand by. Yep.
On to chase 0, Peter. The British in a dominant position.
It's pretty stock standard stuff now, and what's interesting, I'm just looking at relative timings and speed, and it does appear as though the British on that downwind leg made about 10 boat lengths, so they're not taking their foot off the throttle, and then upwind the boat looks just superb. Look, these conditions now are absolutely perfect, and I think we're getting a good handle on relative, you know, boat-on-boat performance. Who's got the fastest weaponry out here? And INEOS certainly are in the first division, no doubt about that.
Nice one, lads. To get to lane, no problem. Got about left bias to the top gate, so I don't mind taking that.
Onto Alinghi Red Bull Racing's chase boat, Coach Petro Sabello. Heart back in the chest after that start box incident.
Yeah, for sure. It was difficult, a difficult race when you have started like that. But the only thing I can say is that we are much better than that, and you know, it's we have one more race today to show it, to take it out. So we will reset after this and make sure we are stronger in the next one. It's good to keep going and to keep pushing to check the performance in this one. But yeah,
makes life tough, huh, Petro?
Yeah, for sure. You know, everybody here is pushing. Also, I mean, for sure, the guys on board, also the shore team is doing a great job, great effort at the base on the water. So we just keep fighting to the end, and we will be stronger next race.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
This is the race committee. We are moving the leeward gate, lengthening the course to 1.9 nautical miles and shifting the axis to 203.
INEOS Britannia heading to the top gate to complete the halfway mark of this race. The third race between them and Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
2, 1.
Done with ease as they head down on leg 4.
20. Lie here.
Ben Ainsley saying light here as they cap out at 87 kilometres an hour.
Quite good lefty though, isn't it? Yeah. Hey, my trap. Yours. Go now, we can. Yep, stand by. Put down. Start, 2, 1, mate. 2, 1, stand by.
Something still making a rather unnerving noise within the mainsail of INEOS Britannia.
Pressure here.
Swiss team now just focusing on their boat handling and executing this top part of the course well. They will be get the boat around, regroup, and fire up again for the next race. There's still plenty of racing to go. They need to start getting some runs on the board.
Left here at the top. Nice pressure here. Nice coming like right. Not so much steady pressure there. It's not crazy.
Pressure in 2, 1 pressure here.
Still a bit.
Easing 1.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing now have completed the first 3 legs of 6.
It's
a long way to home, 3 to go.
110. 130.
Nice pressure in front.
140.
Average breeze
Little
here.
squash on their ride height there on the foil, so the thrust of the sails basically wanting to pitch the boat really bow down as they accelerate around the mark. So the rudder elevator
Ice grip here.
getting over 2.5 tons of downforce on it as the boats bear away in these conditions. So having to counteract that with extra flap on those front foils, keep the ride height level. All controlled by the human on board. Different to what the AC40s are that are controlled by an autopilot for the youth and the Women's America's Cup. These AC75s all
Right, bias. What do you reckon? Just
flown
go straight in and look for an earlier attack. Yeah, I think so. It is left shift at the moment, but yeah. Gonna have a little look and
You don't wish to take anything away from what the Swiss are doing, but right now this race is turning into valuable practice for INEOS Britannia. I know they've still got 2 legs to do as they hit this bottom gate to complete leg number 4, but you almost feel it right at this point of the race, pressure's off. They just got to go through and execute cleanly to get to that finish. That start set up everything. No one saw that coming. Not even they saw that coming.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, lengthening the course to 2 nautical miles.
Breeze just continuing to build, which is really, really nice to see here. Absolutely perfect sailing conditions here off the coast of Barcelona. Pretty much in any boat that you're sailing, certainly on an AC75. Fantastic shot there of 7-ton carbon fibre rocket getting flicked around in attack. Huge G-forces there on the crew.
And a big slide there, bleds.
Whilst the guys are putting in max wattage.
Got them here.
Yeah. You've got to keep there.
Yep. Taking main, big push lads.
Lee McMillan is now in the offside foil trim position, so he's course managing and setting up base settings there, keeping an idea on trim, pitch and course management numbers. So all the crew having multiple jobs on board these boats. You're not just doing one job. You've got 3 or 4 hats on,
Numbers here.
depending on what tack you're on.
Nice lefty. 45 still boundary. Leading down. Coming on the bower. Yeah.
Red Bull Racing finally getting to the bottom gate to complete leg number 4. This must be disheartening to say the least. They needed to do something in this race. They had to win this race to get them back in the game. They're not out of the game, but they're not far off. But I can keep throwing this one out. It's the America's Cup and anything can happen.
35 to boundary. We'll take at the boundary.
Right, 21. Very nice pressure in front.
Swiss team pushing hard there. You saw the difference in the 2 mark roundings from the same position of the 2 different teams.
And turning.
2, 1, up.
Nice tack there.
Bird struggled a little bit to go, but
Pressure 2.
The distance not shortening though, Shirley. The distance seems to be just leading out to now quite a healthy margin for the British team.
Nice lad. Good work. Much more to come in 5.
Let's go to chase 0, Pete. 1.5 legs to go for INEOS and a full 2 legs for the Swiss. So what do we take from this at this point in time?
30 seconds still late.
I think there's two aspects to this one. It's you know, obviously pre-start, and that was a huge moment in terms of the story here in Barcelona, and it was really INEOS that had full control, and they avoided, and their boat handling to avoid was massive. But then I've just been watching the deltas at each mark. They've pushed on, and that last leg, on that downwind leg, they took another 6 boat lengths. So they're not taking their foot off the accelerator, and from that, they're just learning how to sail this boat faster and faster. And, you know, for Alinghi, they're going to, that's an uphill battle when you're 3-0 down in a 5-win series. So they need to do something special in the next race. And so from this, they just need to learn and try and come back and hit the last race hard of the day.
Yeah, Pete makes a good point. You know, conditions are different every single day here in this venue. So if you get a day, you have to maximise the learning from it.
Happy here for now, keeping the cadence.
Yeah, every minute on the water in this development phase as well as the racing phase is really, really priceless time.
INEOS Britannia at the top gate for a final time in their 3rd race against Alinghi Red Bull Racing. They'll be heading home, and they should pretty much bank another win. Man, if you're a supporter of INEOS Britannia, you would be pretty happy about that.
Nice, locking him in. 25 still boundary.
Wasn't their cleanest mark rounding there on the British boat, but they managed to keep the rudder in the water and boat on the foil, so still well within the boundaries of what you call acceptable mark rounding. That little skinny rudder, the lower section. INEOS Britannia not providing a whole lot of grip when it's close to the water surface.
That's it. Good pressure.
The only thing I'd have to say that I'd change on board the INEOS Britannia boat at the moment is the camera post at the back. I'm getting a bit seasick watching that camera with it wobbling around. So to the shore crew listening, you do your Aussie mate a favour and stiffen that little bugger up a bit for us.
Anything for you, Glenn. Anything for you.
Pressure 5.
Right,
Next one is bareway. But increasing.
Really different aerodynamic package on the Swiss team. Both these two teams possibly the most aerodynamically aggressive out of all the teams. So we're going to see the different design philosophies.
Lighter again in front.
Pressure on us now. Yes, you can.
Okay, you can. 3, 2, 1.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Complete 5 legs. It's on the homeward leg, and it'll feel like a very long leg, considering the distance they are behind INEOS Britannia.
Average breeze.
No surprises that both teams are pushing the aerodynamic side of things super hard with their connection with F1 teams.
1 mate. Good, lock it in. All the way. 35 this way.
This will be a full delivery trip here for the British team at the finish. It'll be crickets for the next 20 seconds as they get the job done.
INEOS Britannia, the official challenger of record, are about to put another win on their belt. That will make it 3-0 after bullying Alinghi Red Bull Racing at the start. They've done a job on them, and it is a big job and a big step towards the Louis Vuitton Cup final.
Okay, and jiving here now.
I'm gonna ask this question of both of you. If you're the defender sitting watching the rapid improvement and just you happen to meet this team in the match, would you be concerned? You have to answer the question.
Did we never have a collision course?
Sure. We'll hand this over to you, Phil.
Maybe you could time to work out here.
They seem pretty happy on board. I mean, I would imagine the defender would expect the level of progress that we've seen from INEOS Britannia, and also a level of aggression. You know, Ben Ainsley is a class act. He's a world match racing champion and, you know, the greatest Olympic sailor that ever was. So would you expect any less? I'm not sure.
And it will be Alinghi Red Bull Racing who will come in on port, and INEOS Britannia who will come in at starboard. Port can enter at 2 minutes and 10 seconds, starboard at 2 minutes.
Click more pressure for this race. We're over 17 knots all over the course. Going to be full on.
Yep, those big group of boys pushing those pedals hard because we are getting to some really nice upper range conditions here for these AC75s.
Port entry for Alinghi Red Bull Racing. They get the green light. They are good to go in the final race of the day. Trailing 0-3 against INEOS Britannia, who come in at the 2 minute mark. Come in just a little bit late, but they've got the green light to come in. They're a wee bit up the course.
Slightly different approach in INEOS Britannia now, so this will be a planned manoeuvre. They had it lined up from a long way out, so all under control on the British boat.
Holding the board. Okay. They're getting very slow here, working up. Coming up, Jim.
All these manoeuvres practiced time and time again on the simulator. Nothing left to chance.
Just hold off them. Yeah, killing a lot to kill. Come down here. Yeah, okay. They might go for a circle here. Just stay high, just stay high.
Both boats using their windward foil to stabilise the yacht, so it makes it a lot easier for the cyclors not having to sail the boat at full riding moment or full power.
1 minute. On that.
12.
They are.
They'll all be having nightmares of that last start, so they'll want to avoid that.
7.
Taking a lot simpler route, the Swiss team, but quite early there, and the British will be slowly accelerating to keep the pressure on the Swiss team. Very early on board Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
12. Still up higher, one more.
Killing 2.
Coming down here, pressing 1 bottom.
Coming down a touch.
Britannia staying high, letting the Swiss go down the line.
We're running the late trigger pull and engaging off to win with pace, so
2. 1-5.
big round up here for the Swiss.
Open. Racing.
We've got a race, the final race of the day in the Louis Vuitton Cup semi-finals. Britannia 3-0, Alinghi Red Bull Racing 0-3.
Yeah, we'll hit them. Slightly higher mode if possible here.
Now we can attack.
Swiss team only 8 metres back at the start, well executed. But INEOS Britannia in a great position for the tack that's just about to come.
One was down.
The British will be just matching and wanting to just tap right in front of the Swiss team here.
More mode for now. More mode for now.
2. 1 pressure hit.
Lower, faster, slower.
Beautifully executed attack there from INEOS Britannia.
Happy to take back.
Yeah, we can take back.
Yeah, pressure speed now. They're
No rush.
Not a huge amount of runway back to that side, so they'll be wanting to get to full acceleration before they tack again.
Yeah, I think just trying to get a good moment.
And it's really squeezed them in a high mode. They've no choice but to tack back to that left-hand side with so little runway.
Tacking back, happy on a fast one. Okay, about to bow the moment.
So decision time now of whether the Swiss duck here and carry on.
Pause down.
British, if you like,
Now, 2.
Tell him he's dreaming.
Keep pushing it.
We're right on your face.
Hands on the move. Max, obviously.
Keep pushing.
Good first leg by both these boats. Pete Lester, do you see it the same way?
Yeah, absolutely. They've got slight speed advantage to INEOS. That was an amazing piece of helming by Ainsley off the line to gauge away and push forward, so that when they came back on port, he was really, really strong, and now they're capitalising on that. It's good to see that that Artemis is just staying in there, hanging tough. The boats are, this is the most I've seen the boats in terms of pressure. Small jibs, they're flying.
Another attack in front here by the British, just locking it down. Alinghi Red Bull Racing having to make some decisions here of how they sail this beat to keep it tight at the top.
Come for a fight though, haven't they?
A lot of crowd down here, Lee. Landing you off.
18 knots of breeze, and we're right at the top end.
40 knots of boat speed there. The British over 100 kilometres per hour, or over 60 mile an hour of wind over the deck, over the helmets of the crew on board. So a lot of wind noise. You see the going over the top of the cockpit there.
One and water.
3, 2, 1, mate. Turning.
So many tacks on this first leg, and just with each one, it's another 15-20 metres.
You will be able to tack on us at the top.
Bottom speed there of 30 knots on the British, so tacking the boat well. These guys look like they're having a lovely time in their happy place.
Enjoying all the tacking, that's for sure.
Cyclists, they absolutely work hard. Portico there.
INEOS Britannia will hit the top gate, leading Alinghi Red Bull Racing in this fourth encounter between the two. Big boat goes around on the right-hand mark as we see it, left-hand for the crew on INEOS Britannia.
120.
And the Swiss will take the opposing mark. Not too much in this one, but we know how quick INEOS is downwind. Leg 2 in front of Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
Trim, lower. Finger. Lower. 35 to battery.
Nice jibe on board the British. Little touchdown there, a little wash off of speed on the Swiss team, but not much. It was just acceptable there, but the British now pin the ears back and get the boat locked in. They'll be away.
Chase 0. Peter Lester, what are you seeing?
Average shift here.
Well, I'll be interested to just watch INEOS here. We know they're fast downwind, whether they can extend by the bottom mark gate. For Alinghi, they've just got to hang in here and have a clean race. Because the breeze is up, a bit of boat handling could come in. Errors, mechanical can become a factor.
Just got the average heart rates from Alinghi during all those tacks, and it's 195 off the cycles.
Yeah.
You'd have to have a bucket close by, wouldn't you? At that sort of heart rate. Hopefully you didn't have too much of it past the lunch, that's for sure.
We will extend a bit, go to the open course point and go back to take the bus of this right team. And say the starboard to the left.
It's not like the first time they've done it though. For these big boys, they train for years to put themselves in the hurt locker, which they love doing.
That's what people have to remember, Glenn, too. Years they have been training for these moments. These moments can be quickly taken away, though.
It's a pretty exciting development in the America's Cup. We have the cream of the world's endurance athletes part of this competition.
Little increase, 20 away here.
Swiss sailing their boat well, some nice clean manoeuvres. Though it says 360 metres.
Marginal, isn't it?
British only need a little wobble. Swiss will be
I mean, they're probably going to go left. We can just
right
go right turn. They're going to go right turn as well.
slightly lower than the ley lines.
Take just a bit of margin.
Just a bit more, yeah.
Racing.
Okay, happy to go, yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, fall down. Close, okay, emerge. Let's 2. 2,
1, and bottom.
Quite a big heel out of that manoeuvre for Alinghi Red Bull Racing, so got to be careful to keep that rudder in the water.
INEOS Britannia in top gear, hitting the bottom mark to complete leg number 2 of 6.
Okay, 2, 1, hit it, boys.
Both boards down, keeping it safe in these conditions, and away they go again, making it look effortless. Don't say that to a cyclor.
Heading past intersection, so I think we're just
It comes
holding here.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing, not too far behind.
Now they follow. Yeah, 20 seconds this way.
The delta at 21 seconds, so they're in this race, but fight they must, and fight hard.
Try to win further than them. They tag just before the boundary, so we can push a bit more.
Sensational conditions here in Barcelona. It really doesn't get any better than this, sailing these boats. It's beautiful yachting, and pretty much any other boat you'd be chopping wood going upwind at the moment. This boat's absolutely blowing the waves to pieces, locked in and smooth.
This is tacked up on our hip. Copy.
Let's go on board the change by INEOS Britannia coach Rob Wilson. Team worked really hard on that first leg to set up this lead, Rob. You must be pretty proud of that.
Yeah, no, they took control of the race, that's for sure. It was real good to see. The start, actually, though, from both teams was pretty impressive. You know, the Swiss as well, they got a great start, and we managed just to get that lead bow tack from the boundary. So, yeah, pleased with that.
Tough call on the mainsails for today, Rob, with the sort of increasing breeze conditions. What did you guys decide on philosophy-wise there?
Yeah, I think it was for all the teams, actually. Like, I think like out of the 4 teams on the water, all of them changed sails. So yeah, we basically hedged for more wind eventually, and I think it was the right choice.
How high is confidence in the team right now?
Yeah, the team's on a high for sure, but you've got to keep moving forward. You know, like hopefully we get past the Swiss in the semi, and then there's 2 tough matches with Luna Rossa or the Americans, and then hopefully the Kiwis finally. So you just got to keep pushing.
Thanks for your time, pal.
Thank you.
Pete, what do you got?
Now, just past that line.
So about halfway up the second windward beat, and it's INEOS just punching on, long starboard. I've got them just being a click quicker, especially on the upwind, and we know they're so pacey downwind. Condition-wise, it's just beautiful. It's even across the course. I think today we get a really good gauge on who the fast boats are in the semi-final of the Louis Vuitton Cup.
It's certainly nice to see these AC-75 sailing in some upper range conditions. We've seen a lot of light air and sort of light to medium air over the last week or so, and fantastic to see these boats being pushed hard.
2, 1, mate.
I think everybody's
Top end
waiting on that
window.
Sorry, Glenn, I think everybody's been waiting for that to see what these boats are capable of and the closeness of the racing. Go back to that last race we saw, 2-second finish, and it was an American Magic ground that one out. They ground it out. They knew they were in a fight as Alinghi Red Bull Racing up, but they're up against a team whose development profile has gone vertical since the back end of the round robins. INEOS Britannia, the official challenger record, look quite simply strong.
Yeah, that jib absolutely boned on the foot there. Really sailing clean.
INEOS Britannia, they're at the halfway stage. 50% of the race done, another 50 to go, and they could go 4-0.
really high. They're big traveller up now, big repower of the sails. They'll be threading the either needle to keep that bustle out on the water. They've only been 100 or so millimetres, maybe 4 to 5 inches of rudder in the water there, so right on the edge.
They have really put a lead on Alinghi Red Bull Racing, who will finish leg number 3, and they are trailing. Not what they want to do. They didn't come here to trail. But they are around the top gate and heading down on leg 4.
Slow down the turn. Good angle, Max. Follow her.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, lengthening the course to 2.05 nautical miles.
The boats are getting faster and faster. We saw INEOS Britannia peak at just over 50 when they went round that top mark. It's quite astonishing how quick these machines are. And you think, well, just 16 years ago, the world speed record was 15 knots. They've come a long way. It is so impressive.
The boats are really, really going well, and it's not so much the top speed of these boats, because they're not set up for absolute pure top speed, but it's how quickly they accelerate from around 20 knots to 40, 45 knots. That's where the impressiveness is out of the manoeuvres. Your bottom speed's over 30 knots, tacking, you know, as a bottom speed upwind. So boat's able to do over 40, 42, 43 knots upwind in bigger breeze. We're certainly not at the top end of the conditions. Around 16 knots top end breeze, sort of over 21, 22 knots is sort of getting towards the top end. And, basically all teams now just trying to keep the boats actually under about 45 knots of boat speed. So they're trying to sail low down the track. You can sail a little faster, but you very much run into the cavitation, which is the flow of water going over the top surface of the foil. It's actually turning that flow into a gas. It's actually making the foil very draggy, so the team's needing to thread the eye of the needle for max performance downwind, keeping under the max cavitation speed and turning it down towards those bottom marks for max performance.
Yeah, that's tempo. Yeah, just left turn, eh? Yeah. Yeah, just trying to bias that way. Yeah, in the recovery. Only in the right still. Oh. 46
Britannia's rudder, very different to a lot of the other teams. Very, very skinny in the bottom and chunky up high to support that skinny part down low. So very, very interesting design philosophy. Dylan Fletcher
10 seconds. Outside.
on the handlebars at the moment.
Forward. 3, 2,
INEOS Britannia coming to complete lead number 4. You heard Benazir say just left turn. Away they go on that right-hand mark as you said. 2 to go for INEOS Britannia to take a commanding lead in this Louis Vuitton Cup semi-final.
Really interesting there, and the British is holding that windward board down a little longer, getting the sails trimmed on for the cyclors before then raising it and actually going then to max riding moment or max power. So nice wise move there from the trimmers to look after the boys at the back.
Red Bull Racing, all they can see is the transom of INEOS Britannia. It's been a tough, tough day. It must be so hard in these conditions when you're just a little bit nervous and you're a bit down to keep things rocking.
Hey, one more lap. Let's go.
Paul Jacot and Arthur Survey powering the pumps there on that starboard side.
Setting the boat where keep going. 20.
This is the race committee. We are moving the finish line, shifting the course axis to 212.
Entry the zone now.
Let's go on board the Alinghi Red Bull Racing chase boat with Coach Petro Civello. Give us your thoughts right now, Petro.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, all the guys are doing what we wanted. We reset after race 1, had a solid start, yeah, still we see that we have some gap to close with INEOS, which is showing a great performance in these conditions. So full credit to them.
You've got a tough opponent, Petro. Where do you go from here?
Yes, it is tough. Anyway. let's see how this race ends up. Still one lap to go, and tomorrow is another day. We have another opportunity. Forecast seems to be different, so we may have some different outcomes.
All right, love a surprise. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks. Ciao, ciao.
How about this upwind performance by INEOS Britannia on leg 5? They have hit the hammer and pushed it hard.
They certainly are, and voice of Petro Cervello there. Mainsail trimmer for Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli in AC36 3 years ago in Auckland, and one of the sport's nicest guys, and 49er skiff, dinghy legend in Italy, and very knowledgeable on what makes a boat go fast. So
probably just keep it simple, 1 and in. Copy.
All teams having great experience throughout coach boats.
Quite a lot of foil out the water.
In these conditions, you can absolutely foil a boat really, really high. So really relying on that inboard foil tip to do a lot of the work. So because you're going fast, you can reduce the area because you have the grip needed to stop the boat sliding sideways. So the faster you go, the more grip you have. And so you're wanting to reduce the wetted surface area of that foil for maximum performance. If you've got too much foil immersion, you're too draggy. So the team's threading the eye of the needle to foil high enough, just have enough grip for best performance.
2, 1, go board. Right. It's what would help you keep it low. Yeah, very good pressure here. High mode to make it, but... Yeah, getting filled land. Nice.
INEOS Britannia sailing into a nice big puff there on the course.
Yeah, copy.
They'll see that on the water.
Yeah, keep it in good shape. Yeah.
We can see it from the air.
Almost feels like a giant sat here, man. Copy.
Fans are pretty lucky around the world to see that magnificent Windside IQ live wind from Capgemini. Gives real understanding. And just a reminder, the boats don't see that. So you're the lucky ones. Wherever you're watching around the world, you can see those pressure on your screen. INEOS Britannia approaching the top gate for the last time. And then they'll head home on leg number 6.
Slowly down. Yeah. Mike, pushing it there. Okay. 2. 1, 100. Hit it, boys. 20.
50 knot bear away there.
40.
93 kilometres an hour. So
going 4 down here.
the 60 mile an hour for our friends in America.
Okay, standing nice and smooth. Oh, well. 2, 1. And board.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing. It was a better start, but it looks like it. Let's be blunt. Looks like they're going to be beaten by a quicker boat that has not put a foot wrong in these semi-finals. Round they go on the homeward leg. Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
Big push there. Struggling to get the Traveller up.
25 boundary.
On board Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Huge push for the cycles there. Real delicate dance, keeping the roll control and the ride height and the pitch all lined up around there as the thrust increases massively in those twin skin rigs as they bear away going through the power zone.
Nice one. Keep pushing.
I think Red Bull Racing have sailed a pretty good race. It's been very clean. They had a great start.
They have. They're sailing well, Shirley, but just not quite slippery enough to catch INEOS Britannia, who just simply haven't made a mistake in this race.
25 to boundary.
And that's what you would call, Glenn, sailing efficiently.
Definitely sailing efficiently. Beautifully locked in there.
Okay, stand by. Yeah, just go a little past it. Yeah, yeah, nice.
That's how we get you some of the beautiful cameras from up high.
Okay.
Our helis, the lads do such a good job. Just stay clear of Jimmy Spittle, because he doesn't like helis anywhere near you. So here we go.
Well, this is a little loose there on the British.
Nice pressure here.
Not their best job, but a keeper. So easy to get the boat slightly out of whack as you go through the jibe. So real juggle there from both flight controllers, the handing over of the helm and also the trim of the sails. So a real practice makes perfect sort of an episode.
That's right, boys. Right in. 20 seconds.
The finish line is in sight for the official challenger of record. Alinghi Red Bull Racing, excuse me, INEOS Britannia are about to go 4-0 in the Louis Vuitton Cup semi-finals. Once again, they have proved too good to stop. Britannia is on fire. One win to go, and they're in the Louis Vuitton Cup final.
Push now. Holding forward. Holding? Holding forward, yeah. Okay. Happy with that for a sec. Okay. Nice work, guys. Nice work, guys. That's really solid. Well done, guys.
Yeah, hats off to INEOS Britannia today. That is a very, very polished effort across the board. So they'll be very happy to put the boat away in the shed tonight in one piece.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing have had a heck of a day. They came in 0-2. They need to do something special. They had an almost incident at the start of their third race, but they haven't been able to match the pace and, more importantly, the power of INEOS Britannia. They come across the line and they are one loss away from going home. Just the answer we wanted on a Monday here in Barcelona. It'll be the 5th time these two teams meet in the Louis Vuitton Cup semi-finals. We know what the score is. Great Britain, who will come in off starboard, they will come in at 2 minutes. And on port, it will be Alinghi Red Bull Racing in at 2. We'll have to be careful they don't come in early. They've still got 27 seconds, or should I say 15 seconds to come in.
Breeze is very soft in the box. We're just seeing 7 knots. So important just to keep the thing flying.
INEOS Britannia struggling to stay on the foil here out of screen. They will dig the boat back up on the foil again. They could possibly be a little late here for entry. We'll have to look.
They get the green light, INEOS Britannia, but they come in late. Little moments before the start box routine. Righty-ho, that means it's on.
Very, very marginal conditions here at the moment. Past the wind limit, but still puffy and shifty here for both teams. So absolutely again about staying on the foil, Shirley, and doing the simple things well to get off the line.
Yeah, I'm sure we won't see the aggressive moves that we saw yesterday. This is all about keeping your boat at pace, avoiding the other boat's gas. Making sure you're in the start box at the time.
Staying high, potentially going to jibe into it. Hopping. Staying high here. 55. Link 50. They're working up into attack. They're too early. Okay. Mind their gas on the exit. Okay, jibing here. 4 down.
8 for the pit.
1 minute. Okay, let's go.
Big push, stay high.
Hey, slow. Okay.
Yeah, 8. Yeah. They are slower than us.
7. Doing here. Link 50.
Slower than us. Are faster.
British team right on the edge.
They are the Swiss team going to have to roll across the bow of INEOS Britannia here.
Will be a big down. Come down, boys.
INEOS in a really strong position here against the Swiss.
Link 2 for the pin. Here we go. Killing 1 for the pin. 15. Looking up now. Yeah, just wait. Killing 4.
6.
Still killing 4. Killing 3.
3.
Killing 2. Killing 1. All the way up.
1.
4. 3. 2. 1. Gun. Let's go.
opening race of the day is on. D-Day.
Switzerland, this is the umpire. Get behind penalty Switzerland, OCS.
For Alinghi Red Bull Racing, and not what they wanted.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing 4 metres over the line. Beautifully controlled by INEOS Britannia.
Big loss required.
Penalty clear.
By the Swiss team there, unforced error. But they are on the foil. And that is key at this point in the race to keep it tight.
Let's jump on to chase zero. Give us your thoughts on that start, Peter Lister.
I thought when Alinghi turned back, they were a little bit early and they were always struggling to kill time. They ended up upwind to the start line and they were on the back foot. INEOS, perfect time on distance, starting right on the pin. Alinghi, unforced error, OCS.
Fast mode is good. Also by on the second in 10.
Big speed bill needed by Alinghi Red Bull Racing. The British there clearly across.
Good pressure out on the bow then. No push in. Back to forward.
Manoeuvre so costly in this wind pressure.
Mind that can left.
The exit angles in this slider are very wide compared to just 1 or 2 knots more wind speed.
22 this way. Still press. Pitch and cut here. Okay. Stand by. Yep.
Just hear the cant moving there as that arm goes out.
1, mate. Turning. 1, 2, 1, going forward. Nice 22s. That's ours.
Nice light air attack by INEOS Britannia.
The other boundary. Have a look forward, mate. Yep. Little increase coming in 5. Locking them in. Got to watch this swell again, Leroy. On too deep on the emergence, or I've just got to take some heel off. I'm still under can target here, so should have it. Just some of those swells, we just catch it. Nothing, no biggie. Lovely. Nice speed there. They're attacking. They don't think they will lay one in right. We can get there, which is currently biased. I'd say we're crossing ahead at the moment. Looks like good gains to us.
Dylan Fletcher telling us what's going on.
To hit them. Good speed. Speed here for us. You like to hit them? I don't mind. I think we take one and in. Okay, no problem.
Comms on board there saying they'll just carry on and reduce doing the double manoeuvre and just say we'll let them go, but we'll do one less manoeuvre for ourselves. So big losses in the tacks in these light air conditions, so strategically a good call there by the British.
Take fast on it.
Stand by. Yep. Thank you. Trims on. And forward. 2, 1, main. Turning. Very well. 2, 1. And board. Taking main this way. A slight right hand bias. Yeah. Nice build here. Taking main.
Not much wind on the water here at the moment at all. Pressure move now on the Swiss team.
Yeah, we should be good. No attacking now, we should be ahead. 10 seconds to right.
INEOS Britannia coming to the top gate for the first time in this 5th race between these two teams. INEOS Britannia with that 4-0 lead. All the executions today in this lighting air will have to be spot on. They complete the opening leg of 6 here in Barcelona. Not too far behind, crossing behind. There's Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Recovered from the OCS at the start. About 75 behind, and they are now again the chaser. Or is it the hunter?
Potentially the Swiss team sailing into a little more pressure down that side of the course, so
They look in the slightly lighter.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shortening the course to 1.15 nautical miles.
So if the ghost boat simulation comes to realise on this first downwind leg, it might be just a little bit of a fillip that the Swiss need to get that a lead. Say, okay, we're in the game. We're not going to be the chaser all day. Let's see what happens.
The British, they're just on the back edge of a puff there, so if they can just get a little bit out of that, they'll still be solid.
Quite light in front, I would say.
Now, the Swiss team sailing through that lighter patch as well.
Stay faster.
The Swiss not being able to really get far enough into that pressure on that boundary to use it to their advantage.
They drive just below us.
Nice flank on board. They look like they're sailing high and far. Hey. Sailing down here, lads. Just nothing to speak up. Here we go.
Still a little bit of underlying swell, Shirley. You can see there from the helicopter shots. So a lot of wallying, a lot of moting, quite a bit of steering and trimming to be done, particularly on this port jibe going downwind with the swell angle.
Lots of down here, lots of down.
The swell's coming in from that left-hand side. You see it lovely in this aerial shot here, making life easy for teams.
Happy with that? Yeah, pretty. They're going to boundary. 15 to boundary. We're in a very nice let down here. Let me jibe. Okay. Stand by. Come. Forward down.
Heading into the second half of the first downwind leg. Chase zero, Peter Lester. What are you thinking right now?
Well, clean manoeuvres. Just got to keep the boat elevated on the foils. The other thing I'm noticing, especially on INEOS, and they're right on our bow at the moment, is how tucked under the foil is under the boat. Yesterday we see quite wide cant angles, just optimising riding moment. Not the case today. Trading off a bit of riding moment by just keeping the foils quite underneath the boat to try and generate as much lift and power as they can as they head down leg 2.
Nice pressure on the way.
Looks very evenly matched on this downwind.
Yeah, they are a great observation there from Peter on the water about the cant there. So these lighter conditions, just the rig's not generating the same amount of power, and that power source being further up in the rig, so foils needing to be further underneath the hull for best performance. Don't want to be using the shaft of the foil to stop you going sideways. You want to take it all on the horizontal if you can. Balance the forces.
How much is the range that you can adjust that?
Yeah, it's quite a bit. The sailing can anywhere sort of up to 8 to 10 degrees while you're sailing, and it changed from upwind to downwind as well. So wider upwind, further under for downwind.
INEOS Britannia, final jibe at the bottom mark, and it feels like it's just gently to get around the mark.
Really well executed there by the British team. That's very, very well done. Marginal conditions. Pressure on the Swiss now to get round cleanly and keep this race alive.
Very soft at the bottom of the track, 7 knots. Danger zone.
Too tight on the jib here. Really extended the speed here. Real light, that's power. That's with it. Down.
30 knots here. +7.
So.
Holding here. Nice one.
There's some big holes in the breeze here, so
Nice pressure bottom left still.
as I've seen previously, British needing to make sure they keep sailing the boat well. Oh, they're right on the edge here. 18 knots, they're going to struggle.
Copy. On the move. Get ahead. Keep it steady.
British there. Switzerland here, Stephen.
Well, is this the opening that the Swiss are looking for? INEOS Britannia off the foils, and Alinghi Red Bull Racing just need to execute a nice running, which they have done, but are they going to the same territory? Are we going to get a lead change?
Sailing into pressure too, Shirley. The British sailing away from that new pressure coming down, so British really need to take the boat off here, or we could be seeing a really big lead change here.
6 knots now in Alinghi Red Bull Racing. This is going to be a massive manoeuvre for them. Could this be their moment?
Marginal speed here. All eyes on the Swiss.
Keep pushing, guys. A big push from the back now. David, big push.
Right on the cusp
no
here.
lower than that, Max. Big push on the back.
The shovel's out.
Okay, 20 knots. Okay.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing staying
nice
up.
pressure coming back on in front of us.
Big push there.
There's the lead change.
No problem. Happy to stay fast. They're still in the water.
On to chase zero. Pete Lester, we got a boat race.
Still see more pressure on the left.
And he takes a touchdown right at the bottom. The bottom of the course is light. Looking up towards the top mark, probably a little bit more breeze, but not a lot. Generally, since the start, the wind has dropped. So Alinghi Red Bull Racing have done everything they needed to. They kept the boat on the foils. They pulled off that tack. And now they have an opportunity to stay in the semi-finals. Still got a bit on. This is going to be light and tricky, and it's all about, you know, really good boat handling, boat control to keep the boat on the foils around the track.
The British here absolutely need to get the boat taken off here. They're just going sideways to the course here, but they actually cannot go outside the boundary more than a couple of boat lengths, otherwise they will be disqualified from the race. So they're going to have to take off and tack and keep the boat on the foils here in the next 15 seconds.
This is the race committee. We are moving the leeward gate, shortening the course to 1 nautical mile.
And they're down again. INEOS Britannia struggling in a pivotal day in the Louis Vuitton Cup. But let's take a look at what Alinghi are up to. They have the lead, but they're also on the edge as well. But the spike of adrenaline on the second upward leg might be enough, but they've got to sail clean.
Oh, and Alinghi Red Bull Racing there, a beautiful light air tack, just in a little more pressure right on the boundary, and keeping the boat on the foils. Big, powerful, deep sails there. And INEOS Britannia back up on the foils, but huge gain there to the Swiss. And they'll be looking to put their nose to the grindstone now and just grind it out and stay in front.
Anything can happen. We've seen it before in the history of the Cup, but also in the last couple of weeks. As we've said, no lead is big enough. And the Swiss may have half a kilometre, but that could disappear in an instant.
Looking like a little more pressure out this left-hand side of the course, so need to be over 26 knots roughly of boat speed. Have enough speed to execute the tack and stay on the foils here.
2, 1, up.
You can imagine fans of Alinghi Red Bull Racing simply holding their breath in conditions like this. They have the lead. If they hold the lead, they survive for another race. But there's so much racing still to come.
This race far from over. With this breeze struggling to fill in, so lots of puffs and lulls to deal with.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Lee. Having a look. Yeah, it looks good in front at the moment to me. Bobby.
It's all business on INEOS Britannia, just keeping it calm, looking for opportunities.
All the way.
They've seen this story before.
They will potentially tackle that.
You've got to be the Fonz on a day like today. You've got to be cool. Keep your blue head on, not going to the red zone. Anything can happen, you've got to keep sailing well.
quite impressed actually with the onboard comms on Alinghi today. We can only imagine how much pressure these young sailors are feeling. Dan Sarafagis is keeping it cool.
3, 2, 1, fog going down. 30 here.
Oh, and the British coming off the foils in that manoeuvre again. So another big touchdown there in that manoeuvre. It's not what they'll be wanting. Alinghi Red Bull Racing still on the foils up to windward, and the British there really needing to keep the boat up if they can. Just having a look at a replay here coming into the tack. Oh, and they've lost the rudder. They've got too high to drop the board, and they've actually spun the rudder too highly loaded on that rudder shaft with a big deep mainsail, and they've spun the back of the boat out.
And it's advantage of Alinghi Red Bull Racing. We talked about luck in our pre-show. We sometimes need a little bit of luck, even though it's the America's Cup. And right now, Alinghi Red Bull Racing are making their own. They're handling the lighter conditions much better today.
And they're heading off to the left-hand side of the track. We saw way more pressure there on the last upwind, but this jibe is crucial.
Here they go. How important is this jibe?
Over 30 knots of boat speed, so they should be able to pull this off.
22 knots coming back.
Yeah, nice job keeping the boat above the minimum foiling speed. British there doing everything they can to build speed. They need to be over 26 knots ideally to have a chance of pulling this next tack off. And they have a huge deficit to make up. Towards the boundary now, expect to see a board down any second.
2, 1, fade. Turning, very well. 2, 1, go board. Got a negative flap now.
Oh, and down they go again.
GBR boundary penalty, advantage all played, penalty clear.
Gonna need a bigger shovel than the one they've got at the moment, the British.
Next back switch. Good.
Onto the Alinghi Red Bull Racing chase boat with Petro Sabella. We talk about lifelines. Your team are making this lifeline. They're sailing beautifully in these conditions, Petro.
Yeah, this morning we said let's play until the end, and without break ourselves, just keep pushing to the end, and the guys did an amazing job so far. You know, at the start with the OCS penalty was not easy. They cleared it in a great way and just kept patient during the race in this tough condition. You know, it's every corner is a fight to stay on the foil, and yeah, they are doing an amazing job.
Petro, you guys are always looking forward, very confident. But be honest with us, how much pressure has the sail team been feeling?
For sure, we are all under pressure, but it looks that the pressure works. So let's keep going like that. And also we see that when the others are under pressure, they also make mistakes. So we see how this race ends up, but let's keep going.
All right, you're going to keep those fingers crossed.
Thanks.
Nice to see everyone.
This is the race committee. We are shortening the course to 5 legs. The finish will be at the windward gate.
So what that means is that the Alinghi Red Bull Racing team are on their second to last leg and have one upwind leg to go to bag their first win in the Louis Vuitton Cup semi-finals and stay alive. Someone please cue the Bee Gees.
Big pressure move here for the Swiss, and they're just going to touch down here. So both teams now off the foils, and the next line of pressure, believe it or not, will come from up near where INEOS Britannia are. So this race is far from over, and INEOS Britannia, if they do get a line of pressure coming down, will get that first. So although they're low riding at the moment, the next big line of pressure will come from upwind. So as Shirley said, no lead is big enough in these marginal conditions at the moment.
It's very soft at the bottom third of the track. 5 knots, 6 knots. It's going to be hard for the Swiss to get going.
It's very, very light everywhere across the course at the moment, and having a look at the wind field here, you'd almost sort of say if the British could just roll the boat around onto the other tack. They're going to have to tack at some stage anyway, but they just need to get into the pressure and get the boat on the foils.
Let's go on the water to chase zero. Peter, can you believe this?
Oh, certainly in this place. And we're right alongside INEOS Britannia at the moment, and they're barely moving. They're just coasting along as they look for that breeze. I'm looking up towards the top mark, and certainly what you're seeing, I'm not necessarily seeing on the water. It still looks really soft between where INEOS Britannia are and that top mark gate. But, you know, it's the old adage, isn't it? What Alinghi needed was a condition change to have an opportunity, and they've jumped on that, and they, if they can just get up this last upwind leg, they'll get a point against INEOS Britannia, who are parked up.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing coming into the bottom mark for the final time. They've shortened it to a 5-leg race, and they are in displacement mode and going, can we keep this battle alive with INEOS Britannia? So they will just coast around the bottom mark, going from 30 knots to just under 8. Wow. How about this? The America's Cup continues to throw up something.
The Swiss certainly no strangers to sailing well in light air, Shirley, and there's definitely some absolute gurus behind the scene coming off the Swiss lake. So these guys definitely do an unbelievable job of keeping cool heads in drift-off conditions. And coming from the southern hemisphere, anything less than 10 knots seems light. These guys, the cyclors, will actually be enjoying having a spell at the moment, not needing to put really much power in. But I tell you what, when that breeze just kicks enough again to start foiling, they will be back straight on the limiter again.
I think you're right, Swiss are very comfortable sailing in not much wind, unlike us. They seem to be able to find just zephyrs of breeze that we couldn't even see.
Certainly going to want to make sure that they can hook into one, because the British sail into one, they will be down to the bottom quite quickly.
That does look amazing out to the right.
Should we throw another variable in?
French
Race time limit?
have managed to get on a tow up.
So we've got around 20 minutes of race time left, otherwise they don't make it. It's start again.
Yeah.
That would be cruel. That would be cruel for Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
Having missed out on an important race once upon a time with a time limit running out, we'll understand their feeling.
So delayed, but I guess it will give us runway back the other way on
a bit of a right shift on the track, which will help the Swiss from the tack back.
They're still just getting displacement upwind.
Massive deep mainsail. I love that. Goes from one extreme to the other.
Around about 14% difference in depth, sometimes less, sometimes more in these light conditions, from fully flat to fully deep with these sails in light air. So just see how much power they're trying to generate to get going. And
so Alinghi Red Bull Racing complete the third of 5 legs and coast out. Throw a rod out of that, those conditions right now. What must be going through the heads of both boats and the helms, and how do we get out of this? Time will start working against them.
Very long-sided port here.
INEOS Britannia, of course, 4 wins up. He's slightly more relaxed than the Swiss, who have to win this match to be any hope.
Yep, the Swiss will be just hoping to be able to get to the finish line here to stay alive in this series, and it's a bit like watching Formula One cars with their pit limiters on at the moment, not allowed to do more than 50 kilometres an hour for them, and these guys are walking pace at the moment, so Mother Nature just flicking the switch and saying, I'm going to have a little rest for a minute.
Or maybe Mother Nature saying, earn it. Earn the win.
I think pressure's okay here, but it's not building, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think we try to stay in sort of a lowish mode and turning here.
Not a huge amount of options for either team at the moment. And as they cross on the downwind eventually, the Swiss will actually then have the best opportunity to get the next puff of breeze coming through. So,
you know what this reminds me of? AC36 regatta in the match between Luna Rossa and Emirates Team New Zealand, when they were both becalmed. It became a who could find the wind quickest.
Remember that race well, Stephen?
Well, you got the Emirates Team New Zealand got the wind, found the wind quickest, and got out of jail on that one.
Yeah, with a famous J3 on, I think, as well too. Not even on a big jib, but that's all history now.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing not doing bad in displacement mode. 8-9 knots of boat speed. They'll be hoping that's enough to get them to the finish line in time.
Nice. Yeah.
Let's go on the chase boat for INEOS Britannia coach Rob Wilson joining us. The America's Cup likes to throw up something, doesn't it? Coming off those fours and seeing the lead change. Oh, mate, what went through your mind then?
Yeah, it's a frustrating one for sure. Oh, I'm getting a bit of feedback. But yeah, after that right turn. Oh, hang on a minute. Can we turn the volume down on that? Yeah. After the right turn at the bottom here, we had a real lie by the boundary, and basically when we went to the tag, we just didn't have it. We couldn't build enough speed. So it ended up like just basically coming off the foil, and then we were straight back into a hole going back into the middle of the course, and we couldn't tack back to the pressure on that left side because we'd have just been straight out boundary when we did get foiling. So it's a frustrating one, but it's the way it goes. So I think the best hope now is we get breeze coming in from behind and foil round and pass them, or time limit, but they're looking like they should make it at the moment.
We saw a shot of you on the chase boat when that moment happened. What was your initial reaction? Not today.
They're probably going to get this one in the bag, and then we just got to prepare for the next one. That's for sure.
Oh well, as the saying goes, it's not over till it's over. Rob, we'll talk again.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Thank you.
It's surprisingly emotional on the coach boat, way more so than on the yacht.
So the one thing both teams now working against is that clock on the top left of your screen, however big it is, screen you're using, under 15.5 minutes for Alinghi Red Bull Racing to get to the finish line. Otherwise, no result, and they go again. My goodness.
Well, the British slowly building a little bit of pace. I mean, just to give you some reference, normally they do a downwind leg in 3 minutes 30. So if INEOS Britannia can get up, it could still be a race.
Yeah, the boats, once they're up on the foils in about 6.5 knots of wind speed, once you're actually up and foiling, you can transition into a lull of around 5 knots and stay foiling. So once you're actually up and you're at speed, you can actually transition through the lull, but you do need a little bit of extra horsepower to unstick the boat and actually get it to take off. So you only need one little puff to take off, and then you can potentially stay on the foils through some quite big lulls compared to your opponent. There just doesn't seem to be anything coming down at the moment.
Let's go to chase zero. Peter, love your thoughts on this one. Does Alinghi Red Bull Racing make it to the top in time?
By my estimation, I was doing some mental sums while you were talking. I think they do. She's doing 8 knots. It's pretty wide angles in terms of tacking angles, but I think at the moment, as long as they don't park up, they should get there. And I'm looking up towards the top mark. Although it's very, very light there, I'm not seeing any glassy spots, so I think they might just make it.
They are going to get there in time limit.
Dylan Fletcher confident that Alinghi are going to get there. Very soft all over the course. We're seeing 5 knots all over. No hope of flying.
Alinghi just needing to stay cool heads here.
Tell me when you want the ball.
And very, very tricky to tack these AC-75s in super light air. Got tiny, tiny little rudders trying to turn the train locomotive on the train tracks. Those big skegs and bustles underneath the hull do not like to be turned through the water. They're designed to separate the airflow off the bottom of the boat when it's in the air, and very, very sticky boats to sail in light air. Yep. Looking at the 2 boats now, this would have been a view of days gone by. I think Pete Lester has seen this movie quite a few times in the past. Lean on the elbows, and the best man in the job to talk about rigs, hulls, match racing and tactics. Back then there was a lot more navigating involved too, Shirley.
If you're slightly confused, INEOS Britannia is actually now going in the wrong direction. They're meant to be heading to the left of the screen and the bottom of the racetrack.
Well, they will be lining the Swiss up, and they will be forcing them to tack and try and stop them making the time limit, would be my guess.
A little over 12 months to go for Alinghi Red Bull Racing to hit the finish line at the top mark as they shorten the course by 1 leg. But Mother Nature is having a major say in this 5th battle between INEOS Britannia and Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Quite simply, Alinghi Red Bull Racing need this point, this win, to survive.
So the British here are going to line them up. They're a lap behind. Their only chance of stopping the Swiss is to line them up and force them to tack here.
There'll be something on the bow, but
Dylan Fletcher did say yesterday they will take no prisoners. They will do whatever it takes to get themselves into the Louis Vuitton Cup final. Even if it means they have a no result here and they have to go again.
Out in a gyro or not? Huh? Don't think. Have to be a bit careful with that. Yeah. But here, something going on here. Yeah.
So I thought the British team there would have potentially lined up the Swiss and basically just kept forcing them to keep tacking and try and run the clock out. But
a tiny bit more in 5.
Looks like they've let them go. Easy to think that here sitting in the commentary booth, but they might have seen some pressure coming down and taking a different approach, surely.
It's a tricky move with the rules. Also, you're not allowed to interfere with the boat on another leg of the course unless you're sailing your proper course. So there's lots of
What is the
ifs and
proper course at
buts.
the moment? What is the proper course?
There's
That
lots
is
of ifs and buts and all of that.
That is the question for the umpires. What is your proper course in 5 knots of breeze? And you could argue that any way you like, I reckon.
Right again there.
An interesting one to talk about later.
More breeze the other way. Let's tack over here. Okay.
Just a lot of main canoe.
Nice, cheap.
Under 10 minutes for Alinghi Red Bull Racing to try and get to the finish line.
So clearly the British team unable to get downwind and back upwind again, so their only chance really is for the clock to run out.
They'll be happy with that, won't they? They'll be comfortable with that. When you've got a 4-0 lead, you just let it expire.
Be no change to the standings, that being the case if the race does get abandoned due to the time limit running out. But the Swiss team will be doing everything they can to inch their way up to try and get that valuable point, keep their semi-final series alive.
Thanks, go up more to have one tag.
Stay up at this top end of the course and get some.
Bodybuilding, well. Thanks, pushing.
Good, just focus on the IQ.
Yeah.
200 meters.
So, Pete, you suggested they might get up the top. You certainly changed your mind now about Alinghi Red Bull Racing hitting the finish inside the time.
It's looking pretty close. So we're right on the bow of the Alinghi, and between them and us, and I just look about 100 metres up from where we are, there's a little bit more pressure on the water. I can see a cruising boat which is off the race course, and they've certainly got 2 or 3 more knots than what we've got. So I'm sure Alinghi Red Bull Racing are just hoping that that wind will filter down to them, as they look like they might be rolling into attack, and certainly speed building post attack is really difficult, but they need to get a wriggle on. They haven't got a hell of a lot of time left.
Well, unfortunately not the most exciting racing we've seen here in Barcelona, but there's a point on the table, and a point's a point at the end of the day. So Alinghi Red Bull Racing there just hoping to get something to get them through to that finish line.
Where we sit, that looks tantalisingly close, that finish line for Alinghi Red Bull Racing, searching for the wind, searching for their first win to keep their hopes alive.
Nice pressure. Maxis.
What's interesting is the quiet nature of looking for wind. Normally, both these crews are pretty chatty, but now they've gone in.
I think perhaps the INEOS team need to be slightly careful. Are they intentionally blocking the wind of Alinghi Red Bull Racing, trying to slow them down? Potentially that is not allowed. You're not allowed to interfere with someone on another leg of the course.
Boundary coming up.
Yeah. They're just trying to
tack up. Okay, copy.
sail their best possible race they can, and certainly not a lot of breeze anywhere at the moment. Pretty much only chance is just sailing at 90 degrees and hopefully breeze coming down the course to get going.
I think Red Bull Racing got a bit of pace now, 9 knots.
They have, haven't they? Here we go. Here we go.
They are on the ley line for now, at least, for the finish.
Pete, are we seeing more wind?
That little bit of pressure that I was talking about is now filled in, and that's why Alinghi Red Bull Racing have got over 9 knots. We can just see a little bit of weight coming off the rudder. They're in displacement mode. But if this holds, I think they might just get there. They haven't got too far to go. What's that, about 200 metres?
Hold your breath. Hold your breath.
If you're an Alinghi Red Bull Racing fan, that is exactly what you're doing. This is going to come right down to the wire.
4 minutes and 44 seconds counting, and that's how close Alinghi Red Bull Racing are to keeping the semi-final alive. Get this point, there's still a long way to go. Another race today, they have to win. But how much will a win do to the confidence? I know confidence is one thing because you've got to sail the boats, but man, they will have deserved this one.
Great boat handling to just keep
have a look at what went wrong there.
the boat on the foils. And sometimes you need a little bit of luck, but you also need to sail the boat well as well. The Swiss team, version 5 speeds here, coming across the finish line, and they will get the point.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing are about to score their first point in the Louis Vuitton Cup semi-finals. Down 4-0. It will now become 4-1, and the Swiss are still alive in Barcelona.
Nice fight,
Yeah, that's what it means. It's a huge win for them. They have maintained a positive, eyes-forward approach through this whole regatta. My goodness, how good's this America's Cup?
We haven't seen many smiles from this lot, but that's thoroughly deserved. They sailed that race really well, and they live to fight another day.
Yep.
Well, one thing's for sure at the moment, you won't be making the win limit for the next race coming up, but great effort from the Swiss team there at points to point. Take it any way you can. Good job.
So for both teams, the pressure just ramped up a notch, and we're heading into the start box. 2 minutes and 10. It will be INEOS Britannia on port. 2 minutes. It will be Alinghi Red Bull Racing on starboard.
So much at stake in this race for Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Years of work, millions of dollars. It has all come down to this.
Anytime. 4 down. Pushing move. 1 made. Standing here. High wheel. Hailing on exit. Should be good here. Get 3. 2. All the way. Back on board.
INEOS Britannia aiming in at the port entry at 2 minutes and 10 seconds. They'll get the green light. You'll see the bar light up, and there it is. They are good to go. A little bit late into the box. 2 minutes. It will be Alinghi Red Bull Racing waiting for the green light. Green light is good and go, and we are into this very, very important 6th race.
Massive pin bias.
Okay, here to giant.
Hold on, 2.
The British team here going into a spin, so they'll be basically circling around to put pressure on Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Must-win race here for the Swiss team to stay in the competition.
55, little pressure here.
Really changeable conditions. They've got to be eyes out the boat.
40.
Still some big holes in this breeze, so they have to be on their toes here.
25. Pressure here.
Upper main driver, neutral tack. 15, 2, 1, fall down.
You want to go below? Early. Yeah, go fast. Go fast.
They are going down, they are not tacking.
Backing up slightly.
They are not tacking.
10.
Killing 10 and landing behind now.
No problem.
20 knots.
The Swiss team quite early here,
Yeah,
Shirley.
very early.
A lot of time to kill there.
6.
Light breeze also, only seeing 8 knots in the start box.
They are tacking behind us. Your call is
They're killing a lot of time, the Swiss, so British still early, even from where they are, so they'll be looking to build speed and put a lot of pressure on the Swiss team here.
Should be good here. That's in the line.
19.
Okay, make it on boys. 15. A little bit, Lewis.
Pin is open by 4.
Left-hand bias on the start. Could work out well for the Swiss.
2, 1, and racing.
It is on race 6 in the Louis Vuitton Cup final series between INEOS Britannia and Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
Great start from Switzerland, 5 meters back from the start line and going fast.
Go a little slower.
They wanted that pin end and they did a good job just to not overshoot.
I think we'll be protected in the boundary.
A little lower now. 20. Little pressure building.
Big left phase at the moment.
Let's drop
No tack in at the moment. Okay, just speed for the tack. Right, real on here. Yeah, okay.
Very light.
by 2, 1, goes going down, Bashan, and tacking.
The Swiss have to be careful.
Non vraiment en mode, et tac before.
Tack here. Oh, they've entered the foil.
Press.
That's a huge loss for Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Pressure on INEOS Britannia. Really slow tack there by the Swiss team.
Passion, pressure coming back. Okay, happy to go now.
Advantage INEOS Britannia now. Big speed build for the Swiss.
Okay, little pressure coming on the left.
Little pressure up.
Level for
It's
now.
going to chase there. And Pete, how about that for a start? And how about a moment for Alinghi?
Yeah, good start by Alinghi, but unfortunately they came unstuck in the attack, and that has given the advantage to INEOS. Look, the conditions, it's tricky. Looking at the sky, it's still down south, it's quite dark, and I think that will drag the wind around to the right-hand side. It wouldn't surprise me to see a big wind shift at some stage in this race.
Yeah, currently the breeze is in the left. If you're at Alinghi Red Bull Racing, you just got to hang in that spot as long as you can. Massive lift, 20 degrees.
Pressing. Still good left here, I think.
Dylan Fletcher just holding the left hand down on that steering wheel and squeezing the Swiss team off there. So
it looks good this way to me right now.
Swiss having to clear their air.
Right a little bit now. You will not get to low. Yeah, looking for attack here. I think 2-0. Stand by.
This is the race committee. We are moving the leeward gate, shifting the course axis to 090.
Okay.
Looks good pressure here.
Nice clean tack on INEOS Britannia there. They'll be happy with that.
Good pressure between us and the windward gate. Yeah, nice there. Looking 32s.
Alinghi really needing to pull off this tack surely cleanly on this left-hand boundary there. Keeping the game here.
Pressure 2, 1, forward. Nice pressure on our left, pressure. At the boards.
There's jeopardy in every manoeuvre. The Swiss team just need to keep it tight, stay as close as they can to INEOS.
We're crossing here, all good. As in the windward gate. Pressure on here.
Not have the speed yet.
So the British there deciding to just carry on to that ley line, which is not far away, so deciding not to tack in front of Alinghi there and reduce one manoeuvre and take the gain by just being able to do one tack and then go through the gate.
Board 2, 1, made. Turning. Quite well. 2, 1, and board. Yeah, push. I think level for now.
Nice clean tack there on INEOS Britannia, so they'll be winding up their speed and hoping to lay that right mark.
Potential left hit. Yeah. Pressing. Yeah. Going to be left-handed. Just keep the speed on. Keeping the speed on.
And they've sailed into a bit of a righty there, so gains back to the Swiss, and the British they're going to have to do another manoeuvre as well. So advantage Switzerland here.
Take the same mark.
Nothing in this race.
INEOS Britannia about to go around the mark at the top gate for the first time. Is this one leg closer to the Louis Vuitton Cup final? Alinghi Red Bull Racing would like to have a say about that as they follow the leader.
Quite slow, good same angle at there.
The mark.
Happy to clear from the mark.
Pretty light.
Same angle at there.
Yeah. Get a drive in. Push. Okay. Go try. Oh, your trap. My trap, copy. They're just above our line. Think we beat them to it here? Yeah, any time here. Stand by. And board down here. My trap.
Are yours?
Simultaneous jibes there by both boats, so...
Happy to say aye for the pressure. Happy to say aye. Say aye.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shortening the course to 1.3 nautical miles.
The Swiss will roll the British here, straight round the bow. Slow jibe by the British, and a lead change.
Can I roll?
Very good sailing from Alinghi Red Bull Racing. They stayed high, got into new pressure, and used it well.
And it's just getting hung up on a little bit of a bad swell there. Super tricky conditions. Very nice job by the Swiss team there.
So first downward leg in race 6 of this Louis Vuitton Cup semi-final. And Alinghi Red Bull Racing are fighting for survival. They have the lead at this point.
How's the breeze here? Batted here. Stand by.
Good speed in this light conditions. Alinghi Red Bull Racing seem really quite nimble.
The Swiss have launched themselves out of that jibe and taken a really healthy lead there, so need to execute this jibe cleanly.
Negative, mine 2, 1 and bottom.
Nice, good pressure.
Holding here.
Just having a look at the jibe there from INEOS, and loss of the rudder there, getting hooked up on the back of a swell. And that big ventilation of that rudder, pulling the brakes on, and a huge rebuild of the apparent wind on that AC-75.
Let's go on to Chase Arapiti. What do you make of this?
For me, Alinghi Red Bull Racing just look a little bit more lively in this condition. In the bottom end, for INEOS, they just look vulnerable in the bottom end when they get into manoeuvres, and their inability to accelerate is costing them.
35 to the line.
Really, there is a lot of different pressure on the course, huh?
Bottom
left, right here.
Bottom right, looking upwind, still quite soft.
Don't have any speed.
Currently, INEOS Britannia are in 7 knots of wind, really struggling there for pace. Alinghi in 11. The gap is growing between Switzerland and Great Britain.
To be slightly over the line, I guess, with the left team.
Nice pressure here.
This is the umpire's boundary penalty GBR removed advantage rule.
Is that a frustrated look from Ben Ainslie?
It's a concentrated look, I think, and a massive lead there to Alinghi Red Bull Racing, sailing really well, and possibly that slight extra area on their foils helping them in these conditions compared to the British.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shortening the course to 1.1 nautical miles.
Continue straight, a bit.
Just skimming the boundary there, the British, so little unforced error. It hasn't cost them much.
So it's Alinghi Red Bull Racing in a race for their America's Cup life that lead INEOS Britannia at the conclusion of the second leg for them, and they head up on leg number 3 upwind. And that lead to INEOS Britannia is growing.
Nice lefty for us.
Super nice mark rounding there from Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Still need to sail the boat well here. Possibly may have lined up the British here. They'll probably sneak round the bow there without having to deviate course, but not much in that.
Big lift.
Right-of-way boat is Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
Well, they could have actually tacked a little earlier there and really got the British fully stitched up, but
out on the setup.
taking the out of jail for a free card.
INEOS Britannia back at pace now to complete leg number 2 of this 6th race between them in their semi-final series of the Louis Vuitton Cup. Long race still to go. 4 legs to be completed.
Lost my trap, good trap. That boat, for that. That leg. Okay, good pressure here. Boundary at 25, is it good on the boundary, Bless? Yeah, good pressure in front of 10. Okay. Potentially soft out of this tack, though. Going to attack now, pretty much.
Hard to believe a lap's gone down. We've got such a big lead, surely. After 1 lap, the British really having to dig deep now.
We've seen INEOS Britannia so strong, so fast, and just a little bit more pressure. How vulnerable do you think they are, Glenn, in slightly less wind?
They've certainly opted for a slightly smaller foil package than the Swiss, so if anything, these conditions are probably the hardest. Their small foils to hang on, lots of flat movement to keep the boat flying, so really interesting.
Well, it's not late. It's not raining, ladies and gentlemen. It is actually, they're working hard.
Pick it up a touch. I do see the pressure on the top. Still see it on the left. So
let's go on the Alinghi Red Bull Racing chase boat with their coach, Petro Sibello. Petro, you must be comfortable, but also a little nervous about what the wind is doing today, but nice job so far.
Yeah, not so comfortable to be true. We had a very strong start, then we struggled in the first deck with a touchdown, which made us lose quite a bit. But then the boat handling raised up the level. The guys are doing a great job. It was the focus for us to really make the boat handling work in these waves. You know, the wind is also should be keep dropping, and I think it's the key for the rest of the race now. Yeah, they're doing really well.
Pietro, it looks like the boys are gaining all the time. They have great pace. How surprised are you and how pleased are you?
Yeah, it's very nice to see. I mean, we see that also INEOS is probably on their M2, so maybe they're also struggling for that today. The wind keeps dropping, and you know, in wavy condition, being powerful on the sails is the right choice. Let's see. Yeah, it's working well for the moment.
Thanks, Petros. Almost halfway.
Yeah, thanks.
Nice pressure, yeah.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing are doing what they simply need to do. They have to win against INEOS Britannia to keep their America's Cup campaign alive. And at this particular point in time, as they complete the halfway stage of this race, they are ahead of INEOS Britannia as they round the mark and head downwind on leg number 4.
Sailing the boat really cleanly. The Swiss team, Alinghi Red Bull Racing, that's what they need to be doing. Nice, accurate, level trim in these waves. Good ride height and good comms. They've just got a bit of work to do from here.
Take this right mark would be great. Yeah, trying.
All these manoeuvres hard, Glenn, aren't they? You can't take anything for granted.
Absolutely tricky conditions to sail in, and you see from these aerial shots just how much the seaway is affecting the trajectory of both boats.
INEOS Britannia coming into the top mark to complete the halfway point in this race.
We're working away here.
Still plenty of legs left. There's still 3 legs left, and we know one mistake, one simple mistake can make the difference in these races.
Luke Parkinson, bottom right, the cycler, ocean sailor. All-round great guy, working hard.
It is. They're in light now here, but again, really good reload on this boundary. Play for now. 22 boundary here, keeping it slightly fast.
Chase 0. Peter Alinghi doing just a nice job today.
Certainly are. That second upwind was very even. It was just an extension of a boat length for Alinghi, so very evenly matched. But I think it's on the downwind that Alinghi are doing the damage. As I look at INEOS just jibe and they touch down. I think INEOS at the bottom of this range, that's her Achilles heel.
They are just really scratching there to get the boat going. It's almost like they've got the brakes on a little bit. INEOS there, look really bound up in some of this sea state.
They've lost 400 metres at the top end of this leg.
Getting really low, good preload here.
We're struggling to stop the bleed.
Yeah, short, sharp here, then put
With small foils possibly. Lots of flap down to try and keep the boat airborne. And the Swiss there pulling off a jibe very cleanly, and they're just extending all the time here. So being able to jibe, re-accelerate the boat, get the apparent wind to bend forward, and then actually get down to course smoothly and quickly, providing huge gains in this seaway.
Considering the performance of what we've seen over the past 3 weeks, no one would have predicted this length of a lead by Alinghi Red Bull Racing at this point in the regatta. But they are doing what they need to do. 4 legs completed by Alinghi Red Bull Racing. 2 more to go to keep their cup going.
Really nice rounding there in tricky conditions, and flight control there of Brian Matreau. Nicola doing a really nice job in this seaway. Not an easy boat to sail. Doing it in seaway, even harder.
Pick your time to go back. 17.
Massive pressure on that young team. Do not make a mistake.
2, 1, forward.
Just on the bottom end there, 19 knots, bottom speed. They've managed to keep the boat on the foils. The Swiss, so very key tack for them.
Boat on the knife edge. Sailors on the knife edge.
And you're going for the same mark as us? Here.
Important jibe here for the British.
Very light to this bottom gate.
INEOS Britannia. Have they picked up some gains on that Tunwood leg? They will complete leg 4 and head up for leg 5. The delta 1 minute and 25 seconds behind. Not over yet.
This is the race committee. We are moving the finish line, shortening the leg to 0.9 nautical miles.
Nice, lads. Still in this. Breeze has come back up. Let's get dock to dock, lads.
Swiss there, pulling off a tack, seeing a bit more pressure out that top left-hand side. The Swiss need to absolutely keep sailing the boat well here, otherwise the British will be mowing them down.
2, 1, made. Power. Here we go. 2, 1, go board. Pressure on. 2. Here we go.
So let's go on board the INEOS Britannia chase boat, talk to Coach Rob Wilson. Just want to know what you're thinking right now, Rob.
Like the Swiss did a good job. Can't take that away from them. We had that little error in the jibe, which you know, gave them the lead. And you know, they're sailing a nice race. And yeah, we've got to improve for the next one. Boys will be all over that.
Robbie, we just spoke to the Swiss coach. His thinking was perhaps that you have the small mainsail on. Is that right?
No, we haven't. No. So we've got a few options, and you know, we're pretty happy with the sail choice. But you know, we just lost the rudder in a couple of jibes, and so you know, they're sailing a good race, and it costs you, doesn't it?
You've got wins in the can, but still nervous?
I think, you know, the Swiss are pushing really hard, so it's, yeah, it's all on.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, fill her up. Happy transitioning 2. Hey, transition. Forward down. 3, 2, 1, mate. Turning. 1, 2, 1, going board. Bit of luck, we might make that. A little increase in 5.
This is probably
1, fall down.
attack of the race here. Should pull it off with that boat speed, the Swiss. Just on the edge, and I think they're safe there. So big push there by the cyclor team. Really nice tack, good job.
Is it a good enough job to get them home? Nothing is a given in the America's Cup. Alinghi Red Bull Racing complete 5 legs. They have one more downward leg to go. And if they do the job, they're still going in the America's Cup.
Would be the best. Push for it.
That was a great approach by Arno Sarafagis and his Swiss team. It came in fat, they had room to build and really save that tack.
Coming up, green light.
The British there, if they can lay this left turn, that is a massive effort from where they were compared to where the Swiss have come from. But they are right on the edge there. The British having to tack between the gates there, not quite laying, so, and they're off the foils.
Yeah, they missed that lay line.
And Alinghi are still on the foils, so the British off the foils at the top.
And it doesn't take a thinking man to suggest that could be the moment that keeps Alinghi Red Bull Racing alive in this Louis Vuitton Cup semi-final series. They're not home yet. We keep repeating over and over again. You make mistakes at this level, it becomes costly. Race defining.
Yeah, GBR just under lay. Not any room for error. Weren't making the buoy. Had to tack. We're down speed. That was the result.
They'll be as frustrated as a mosquito in a shop full of mannequins.
Sorry guys. Full take off.
Frustrating for the British.
And board. Pace it.
Meanwhile, right downwind, Alinghi Red Bull Racing are going to send their supporters and shore team through the rafters. Alinghi Red Bull Racing are not going away. They've narrowed the gap. That's win number 2, and they're still going in the Louis Vuitton Cup semi-finals.
Go left.
Fantastic job by Red Bull Racing there. The Alinghi team fantastically sailed. They'll be very happy with that. Apart from that first tack, they sailed a really brilliant race.
Yeah, they had a plan, didn't they, at the start, and it was well executed and great boat speed. I mean, huge amount of confidence with this team now.
Further up, just for
Well, they pulled themselves out of trouble after that race, though, didn't they?
They certainly did. They just hung on enough, and that first jibe where the British lost their rudder, possibly the defining moment of that race.
So the race wins start to narrow for INEOS Britannia, the official challenger of record. They've still got 2 up their sleeve. They do not want to use them. We know that for sure.
Okay, forward down here in reach. Yep. What's going down?
So we will continue racing today. INEOS Britannia still with the advantage. A little slap on the face from Alinghi Red Bull Racing. So, here we go. Cannot wait for this one.
So quite high pressure manoeuvres here to stay on the foils.
Should be good here.
INEOS very early there. This is going to be an interesting entry for INEOS Britannia. They may be early here.
In the box now. Backing down. You got a big line here on that right side of the race.
This is the umpire's GBR early entry penalty.
Big penalty there.
9 knots, yeah, they're just going to maybe happy to stay safe.
So Alinghi just have to get off the line clearly here and not get a penalty themselves, and the British will have to lose 75 metres.
We heard a surprise, didn't we, in Dylan Fletcher's voice. I mean, that did not add up with what they were seeing on their computer.
So they are going to be pushing hard here now, Stephen, to try and get a penalty on the Swiss team. Alinghi, Red Bull Racing now just needing to get a clean start, and they will take an advantage.
So a nervous 90 seconds now for Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Stay out of trouble, try and not allow the British to put a penalty on them. What another start to this critical race for the Swiss.
30 for the boat.
Super soft wind, it's 8-9 knots tops, just got to stay out of the gas, stay fast.
40 for the boat.
It's going to go for attack. Just look at the pressure for the next attack.
Good pressure on the boundary.
We're seeing a bit of pin end bias, so probably quite happy to get to the other end of the track.
They look quite early. Ready for the com, the board for the com.
Another interesting chapter in the America's Cup story, what we have seen today. Two teams with their back against the wall, and they're throwing it back in the face of the heavyweights.
So the British taking a dip port start here. They'll need to wash their penalty, and they're going to go for a split tack start, try and get back into this game.
3, 3-5.
Give way boat, the British.
Almost good to go in this 7th race between Alinghi Red Bull Racing and INEOS Britannia. We are good to go. INEOS have to brush off that penalty.
It's quite light, just top of us here.
What are they doing? They're straight. They're reaching as well. Okay, they're sailing below VMG. Okay, you're clear. Racing boys, let's go. How are we not feeling this way? Let's lock it in, boys. No problem.
INEOS Britannia shaken off the penalty. We are racing and sailing into more pressure. See the green area on the right-hand side of the track.
3, 2, 1, mate. Turning. 1, 2, 1.
Definitely more pressure where the British are at the moment on the course.
Normal VMG for us.
And building speed there to 25 knots, so they're safe on the foils.
And there is the lead change.
Little pressure. Maybe lefties to come here, Ben. They're getting very strong now.
Swiss will
pretty wide here at the moment.
be accelerating up onto course here, so decision now for the Swiss whether to cross or duck, and obviously a duck from there.
Come down 5.
Could be a little down.
Okay, good angle. Okay, coming down 9.
Get ready to squeeze it back up.
Okay, holding here, yours.
Coming up.
Coming up, close, and
With the voice of Arno Sarpagas guiding Max Bachelon for the dip.
Looks pretty even. What's the shift here?
keep pushing a long one.
On to chase zero. Pete, how about that start or the penalty for INEOS?
Yeah, penalty, but how well did they execute it by just setting themselves up, INEOS, to start on port and come over to the right. And again, it does look a little bit better pressure on the right, and they hooked into that to you know, had the penalty, got rid of 75 metres, but with that right-hand advantage, first crossfire ahead. Well executed by Ben Ainsley and the team.
Pressure's coming. Really solid breeze. Yes, we will put it back for it. Okay.
Building.
Holding marginal at the moment.
Nice tack there for Alinghi Red Bull Racing. British, they have to tack now or keep clear.
Good, happy to sail your course here. Working away.
Pretty good breeze now on us here.
Just across comfortably there, so good comms on board the British boat. Keeping clear by crossing is always a good way to do it if you can.
We're good, Beacon. And a little light patch, there's good breeze between us and the windward marker. All the way to the boundary here. Yeah, left shift to the boundary.
Good boat speed on both boats, and good wind speed at this top end of the track, more than we've seen for a long time.
Sailing into probably a 10-knot puff there versus a 7-knot lull, so a 3-knot increase in true wind speed and give you a huge amount more forward speed and angle towards the mark. So you can see the British team there hooking into that pressure, that darker patch on the water. It's a nice little lefty with that left-hand shift, giving them a little advantage there. But nothing in this race at the moment.
Nicely judged.
Now we pass it there. Okay, passing it.
A nice pressure in 2. 1 pressure now.
A lead change coming into the top gate for the first time in this 7th race between these two.
Pressure in 2.
28.
Stay fast.
Pressure. Hey, my well.
Bounce about the moment. Happy to stay 5, turn down 2.
Neither boat laying the gate.
Come down.
Lay line coming up here.
Okay. Down, keep it going, lower.
Turning up in your wheel. Yeah, turning up. Ariel.
Really nice job there by the British.
1, 4 down
Coming
here.
down at their opponent, which you're allowed to do, forcing your opponent to keep clear, building speed.
Good pressure on exit.
And the British now in a very, very strong position.
Try and lay the right gate here. Yeah.
Coming into the top right.
Turn.
Top gate for the first time in this must-win match for Alinghi Red Bull Racing, and we need to win match for INEOS Britannia to become the first team into the Louis Vuitton Cup final. One leg done by the British.
Okay, your wheel.
British will take a big gain here, forcing Alinghi low, and then
think about the pressure. Don't drive into
maneuver.
that gas. Main on here. Good pressure here at the moment. Nice. This is safe. Come on.
Nice pressure coming back.
1, clear.
Keep pushing, guys.
Okay, it's back.
really good boat speed. From INEOS Britannia, they're over 40 knots of boat speed. Sailing into a nice little bit of pressure there. They'll take a further gain, sailing into that breeze.
More breeze at the top of the race course here.
Pulling out to very quickly a 420 odd metre lead. So how quickly going from a cross just to a 420 metre lead. Alinghi Red Bull Racing now under pressure to keep it tight.
A bit of pressure coming here.
I think more and more right will come with this
cloud.
I keep pushing, huh? So no can happen.
Nice pressure here.
Big nice one. On the long tack.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shortening the course to 1.2 nautical miles.
Yep.
All over than that, yes,
right here.
Maybe I right seat.
Pressure back into.
1, turning.
Oh, they've lost the rudder, the British. It's a bad jibe, down to 20 knots. They need to repop the boat here. Got to get the board out.
That went really early there. We have loads of ease. Big mainland.
Just enough breeze there to get back up on the foil. So lucky that they weren't marginal on true wind speed there.
Good save by INEOS Britannia. Lost a chunk of distance.
You should be able to get lay line here.
They know how to make it exciting for the commentary team and those watching, the British.
Feels like we've got a bit of give it some fat, doesn't it? Yeah. They obviously passed it here. Yeah. 2, 1.
Lots of discussion about coming in fat on the lay line. Giving them just a bit of extra just in case.
Okay, 2, 1. On board. Not going to lay at the moment.
Not their best jibe again. The British, I think they've still got enough wind speed though. They'll be able to dig themselves out of that hole.
They're opening the door for the Swiss though, aren't they? Giving them every opportunity to get back at them.
My trap. Good trap. I see it. Good pressure. Watch out for that bottom left corner. Yeah, all the way. It's quite a big call to drive out. Yeah, go right turn here, I think. Looks okay. Right turn early tap. Yeah, go on. Your trap here.
Nervous of that bottom left-hand corner.
Go right turn. Left turn, sorry.
INEOS Britannia
early tack with the speed.
have opened the door twice for the Swiss on this downward leg, but have recovered comfortably and will lead the Swiss through to complete 2 legs of 6.
All the way. 2, 1. Force, just going to go a bit further here. Good pressure here, no rush. Okay, my charge.
One more manoeuvre here for Alinghi Rebel Racing. They will jibe and take the left turn.
Turning. Very well.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing not able to capitalise on those 2 moments for INEOS Britannia on that downward leg, and they will complete leg 2 of 6. They've got to find something, otherwise it's over.
The left here, just on top of us. Nice pressure in front.
Okay, I have to stay fast.
Bad board.
Okay, let's cut into the boundary.
Okay. Hard to tell, but
You get the breeze quite light, just you can take that.
A really nice board for me compared to him. Okay, let's don't get locked at the boundary.
okay. Once we have the speed.
Tacking in 3, 2, 1, hold down. Turning.
Okay, 2. And bottom.
Massive left.
Let's go on board the chase boat for INEOS Britannia, and Giles Scott joins us right now. Giles, interesting couple of jibes in that second leg, a couple of sharp intakes of breath.
Yeah, it's getting a little nervy on chase 4 here, I must admit, but the guys are doing a good job. We've got Alinghi nicely covered at the moment, and yeah, hopefully it can stay that way.
Yeah, a little bit more pressure, Giles, and a few changes of sails. I mean, how happy are you with how the boys are going?
Yeah, no, they're doing good. They're doing good. You know, as you just seen, it's edgy out here, and the bump and the light conditions just, yeah, you've seen it. Losing the rudder is so easy. Yeah, we made the call to change to our bigger mainsail between races. So yeah, we've had a bit of a sail change there, but yeah, we're in a good spot. Fingers crossed we can keep ahead here.
Giles, early days, but if you can get the job done here, what does that mean to the whole group?
It is early days indeed, and I'm not going to make comment on that yet. Let's wait to the finish, eh?
All right, that sounds like a coach. Well played.
All right, thanks, guys.
Light spot here, pressure will come back. Stay with it.
Giles knowing exactly what can happen with
Pressure
one
main.
slip of the rudder, or one wobble, one touchdown. So we've seen how well the Swiss can dig their way back in. So big pressure on both teams to keep the boat sailing well. They're pushing accurately.
Nice. Nice, guys. Keep it going here. 350 ahead, boys.
Let's head to chase 0. Peter Lester, British are looking good in these conditions now.
Yeah, that mainsail change has made a huge difference. Just watching the boat out here, it just looks so much more lively than it did in the first race of the day. And look, they've done a great job of just protecting this right-hand side, looking at the course at the top mark. All the pressure, all the good action is in the right, and I think Ben Ainsley and his team have really picked that up early. You can see there the wind in the right, and it's just so much better. Right now, INEOS are looking really strong.
Like a little more breeze now, Shirley, on the course too. So over 30 knots of boat speed upwind. You're definitely not doing those speeds when you're in super marginal conditions. So still a few puffs and lulls, but the British team sailing into pressure, lining themselves up here for a nice left turn.
It could be tricky lay here. Yeah. I think we can lay, it's just whether we want to go the other mark. What's the bias? There is bias, but there's nothing in it, I'd say. Bias, go left mark, early jibe. It's good pressure down the right-hand side. Yeah, exactly. Not that early jibe.
INEOS Britannia, the official challenger of record in the 7th race between these two teams, is about to complete the halfway stage of this final race. They have 3 more legs to go. If they are in this position at the end of the 6th leg, They will be the first team into the Louis Vuitton Cup final.
Easy here, Blitz. No way. Nice. Have to go, yeah, a little long this way. Hey, my trap. Oh, my trap.
Down.
Happy? Yeah, we can't drive, yeah, but... Yeah, you just... Okay, they've taken. Yeah, that's right. I wasn't sure about them. Oh, no, yeah, all good. 25 this way.
Any puff at the mark.
Not good breeze here as well. Nice. Good game so far here.
Being the last.
Hey.
For sure, you just don't double
Exactly. 3 seconds. Stand by. 2, 1, 4 down.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing, what can they do?
2, 1, stand by.
Nice pressure.
British there pulling that jibe off.
One
No problem at all. And the Swiss around the mark.
Very nice pressure, yeah. Really, even more coming on too.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shortening the course to 1 nautical mile.
Nice right here. We extend.
They get into it 5.
25.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing just about to sail into a little more pressure here, so you can see the angle difference of the two boats there. Lower angle and better speed as Alinghi Red Bull Racing sailing to more pressure.
Way at the moment.
Okay, change the zone now and pick up your wave.
The G here, a little bit better for the Swiss there, making gains. Moving to jibe now off the boundary.
Okay, jibe. Yeah. Good pressure, yeah. Okay, all right. Okay. Stand by here.
Quite a slow exit speed there for the Swiss team. Big pressure on the British here to pull this off.
Holding. Okay. Okay, going forward.
Nice pressure coming back. 20.
Hey, we'll come back. Yes, good.
Okay, just coming down in a bit of pressure.
You see the next move.
Just staying on the foils there, the British, so nervous moments.
The Javelin moments. Okay. Nice one. Nice lift.
It's been on, boys.
On a really fast side here.
Led him on, Lee McMillan having to work hard in those jibes to be choreographed with their flat movements on the foils. Very difficult conditions in these waves to keep the boat stable.
Get to ley line here. Yeah, I think we can. Out of it now.
Lee McMillan there. You see the concentration.
How's the breeze the other way?
The eyeballs pressed up against the inside of the goggles. Concentrating hard.
Just reach and get that pressure. They jibe in pressure, but put it okay to jibe if you want. I think let's go to lay. A little bit of something coming down here.
You know, a few weeks ago, INEOS Britannia were using Alinghi to practice manoeuvres on. Not anymore. Their progress has been so impressive.
For clearance here.
Certainly got Ben Ainsley's full concentration now. They are not going away, and they have closed the gap. They've taken 100 metres on this run.
Quickly down to chase 0. Peter, Alinghi Red Bull Racing, are they closing the gap?
Yeah, I think they have closed the gap. I think it's because there's a bit of breeze coming in. The sky is looking really angry in the south, and this one's not over. There's still going to be a couple of curveballs. I just feel as though this one still has a bit of life left in it yet. And Alinghi are not giving up, they're pushing hard.
Just want to get there fast.
Very good breeze here.
Happy to extend. Entering the zone.
The British here, I'm not sure whether they'll lay down to take the left turn. It'll be touch and go. It looks like they're just getting there at the moment.
I think it looks good, doesn't it? I agree.
They seem confident, yeah, but
a nice job.
Light pressure at the bottom here. We're seeing 6-7 knots.
Up in 5.
INEOS Britannia will complete leg number 4. 2 to go. 2 to complete and stay in front of Alinghi Red Bull Racing. And you're 1 step away.
Beautifully executed ley line there. Execute, I should say. English-speaking language working a bit better than I am now. They've made it down is the main thing. Didn't have much left in the bank though.
Red Bull Racing have made some gains on this downward leg. The way INEOS Britannia are sailing Britannia today,
A left here. Nice pressure on the bonnet.
Might
Slowly
be in
coming up
vain,
here.
but 2 legs to go, and they have shown real fight. Real fight.
British executing their tack and staying on the foils, so
on the trims,
it'll be a
Below 6.
They've got nothing on this
relief
tack, clear as
British
well.
fans.
Really difficult.
A couple of light patches to negotiate though, so the next tack for the British and Alinghi Red Bull Racing in slightly lighter breeze than what is further up the course, so
For numbers. That's okay.
they have to make sure they keep the pace on.
Keep a light here.
Yeah, very light.
This is the race committee. We are moving the finish line, shortening the final leg to 0.9 nautical miles.
Good tapping them here. We match the speed. Yep. Coming for some speed.
Copy. Squeeze is coming as well here.
Okay, stand by. And board. Board now.
2,
1, made.
Standing. Very well.
On to chase 0. Peter, what do you think about the chances of Alinghi Red Bull Racing? We've got about a leg and a half to go.
I think they're running out of real estate, to be honest, unless one of the INEOS touches down. From where they are now to the top, reasonably good breeze. And as they get further towards the top mark, it's actually even a little bit more. So I'd expect, given going into fresher breeze, the leading boat, INEOS, will probably make a little gain in the top third of the course.
Risquant a bit, quite slippery. Going right.
Don't get one in on the right
It's an
at the
important
moment.
tack to pull off that last tack. That was really probably the most important tack of the race, I think, to this point in time, and the British just keeping the boat on the foils there. Sailing into a slightly more pressure now, so they'll be looking forward to seeing more breeze on the bow.
Really good breeze.
Got to keep their heads up on Alinghi Red Bull Racing. It is not over yet.
And just get this pressure here. Yep.
That's that.
Okay, stand by.
Nice lead.
Big header. Big header down. 3, 2, 1, mate.
Heading. Stand by.
Let's go. Holding a second. Yep. Going board.
Oh, this is not their best tack.
Big speed's coming. Still stay with it.
Just over the bottom speed. They're lucky they actually tacked in pressure than the British.
Coming down at the top.
It's a big wash off the speed.
Do you reckon
Low ride height.
flat or a bit women? What do you think?
Flat is good.
Okay.
We need to go all the way.
I think it's good to take right turn and hopefully match them.
Yeah, agreed.
Good gains to us here at the moment, Ben.
Little increase in time, shortcuts.
Okay, a little bit of leeward now, Leroy.
Copy.
Port Helm, Dylan Fletcher calling gains.
It will be 20 the other way before the bear away. Slightly softer in 5, we've got good speed.
Harvest mode on the new tank, please.
Yeah, got to get down the run. Nice work. Okay, stand by and board.
2, 1, made.
Turning. I will. Yep.
2, 1. Let's go, board.
INEOS Britannia. One more leg to go.
Away from down.
I will here.
One more leg to go to be the first into the Louis Vuitton Cup final here in Barcelona.
Slowly away. Okay, the wheel. Fine.
How much pressure in this final downwind leg just to get it right and sail clean.
It's going to be a steady push all the way.
There's the pressure here, lads.
41 knot exit speed there, so they are in good pressure. The British,
go the other way.
they'll be happy with that.
Looking good in this corner again.
Yep.
Swiss still one more tack to do to get through the gate.
Okay.
Here we go, here's the best of it.
Anyway. Stand by. All the way, yep.
Good stuck.
Going down.
3, 2, 1, mate. They got it.
That's okay, right.
Let's go.
Push!
2,
Push!
1. On board.
Hearing the voice of Freddie Carr, one of the cyclers.
Locking him in.
Been a big day. Oh! Alinghi Red Bull Racing off the foils.
Peter?
Passion.
Yeah, the pressure is told. Now, as they were coming into that top mark gate, a big right-hand shift, and they were chasing the shift. So before they went into the tack, that was very costly, and that big touchdown. I think that's the game breaker. For now, INEOS just need to keep going. It looks like they're going to take out and be the first team through to the final Louis Vuitton Cup.
Looking at the replay here. Oh, big shift, low pressure. difficult manoeuvre.
There must be a sinking feeling right now for the supporters of Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Not what they wanted to see at the top mark for the final time. But if you are a fan of INEOS Britannia, the official challenger of record, your fingers will remain crossed for not too much longer. They have kept the Swiss at bay. They raced out to a 4-0 lead and looked like they would romp home, give the big donut, but no. The Swiss kept coming and kept coming and took it to 4-2. But today on a Wednesday in Barcelona, the official challenger of record, INEOS Britannia, have landed the knockout punch, and they are the first team through to the Louis Vuitton Cup final.
Leave the bar. Board down. 2-1. Diving wide. Let's go. Hit done. Good second, please. 18 boards. Holding it.
And still have their business face on.
Congratulations to INEOS Britannia, the whole team making it through to the Louis Vuitton final, and it is a huge team behind the scenes there, family, supporters.
And relief for the fans that are in the van village who've been waiting for this one moment. They're a step closer to the match. But who will they face?
Well done, mate. Fuck yeah.
They kept it cool after this morning's race and really delivered.
But take your hats off to Alinghi Red Bull Racing. They could have been down and out, this young team, but they said no, and all through this regatta, it's been eyes forward saying, tomorrow's another day, tomorrow's another day. But today, as they cross the line, the dream is over.
A really solid effort from the Swiss team, Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Made it through to the semi-finals. Certainly showed what they can do and took a big race win this morning, but unfortunately not enough to stay into the competition. But hats off to the team, a huge effort, and certainly fantastic to have them here pushing hard on the waters of Barcelona. I'm sure we will see a lot more from Alinghi Red Bull Racing in the future.
White is on Jiba.